credit that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/casino. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show, a reminder to you that on October 2nd, Bradley Roby wasn't a part of this team. On October 23rd, Kevin Byard wasn't a part of this team. Howie Roseman last night, you could argue that two of those acquisitions were a major part of why they won. And by the way, they shut out the Chiefs and the Dolphins in the second half this year, which is pretty wild. And James Bradbury, a guy that I've been very critical of, and I believe you got to be fair. James Bradbury last night had an outstanding game and allowed almost no yardage in the passing game to Patrick Mahomes. So
yeah, I didn't even hear his name at all, which is a great sign.
That's what I think, Pat. That's what I always think.
Yeah.
It sounds simplistic, but if I don't hear a guy's name, I thought, to me, that was incredible. Kevin Byard last night, it was, and I saw earlier in the game, people are like, well, where's Byard? Why is he not doing anything? And then he ends up making not only one play, but two plays, which end up helping this team. But Bob, one of the things you talked about, I thought it was perfect summation. And I wish, by the way, you said this morning, what I would have wrote about. You should have wrote about a column on this game. The summary. Sometimes good.
You do things better than another team. Okay, you're going to face another team that is good. Having Super Bowls under their belt. Andy Reid as a head coach. Steve Spagnuolo as defensive coordinator. All of those. They're going to shut. That's what good teams do. That against other teams, maybe they exploit them offensively, maybe they exploit them defensively. Times when we've all seen can be a really good team, and then another team comes and takes away what makes you really good. So you have to find other ways to win. I just think the Eagles are remarkable at doing that this year. Call it sloppy. You know what I went back to, John? Remember when I came in last Friday? I said I went bowling, with my group on Thursday night. And a couple of the guys came over and they said to me, what do you think about the Eagles? And I put it back to them. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, they'll win another ugly one.
And they did.
And that's exactly what they did. So is this what this team's become? That they're just so good that they take away the goodness of other. They took away Miami's offense, which was vaunted. Last night they took away City's offense in the second half to the tune of no points. Are they that good that they don't, to the eye test, it might not look beautiful, but they're just good enough that they know exactly what they have to do to win.
I feel like when I look at a 9-1 football team, and this is a weakness on my part, I feel like I should be seeing something pretty, not ugly.
I hear you,
you know
on
what
that.
I mean? You know what I mean? I'm like, it's like this can't be good.
Yeah, but okay,
and it's not pretty. But in reality, they're finding ways to win, while the other good teams that are supposedly the biggest threats, they find ways to lose.
Yeah, look, we need not look any further than the Super Bowl. I think we all thought that was a great game, a beautiful game. Offense galore. Both quarterbacks played well. All that. Okay, you came out with a loss. Bottom line, if we're talking bottom line is 9-1, well, bottom line has to be you lost that game. You lost it in a pretty way. Maybe this team, I'll go back to boxing for when we were younger. Maybe some of the people out there remember. Muhammad Ali was the most artistic boxer you would ever see.
Pretty
both
game.
Offensively and defensively, and maybe one of the greatest, maybe the greatest boxer of all time. Phenomenal. Joe Frazier comes along, who's ugly as can be as far as style goes, and gives the artist, smears the artist's work because he just has an ugly, unconventional way of doing it. Maybe that's more the theme of this Eagles team than the prettiness that we saw last year.
Jalen Hurts talked after the game about what this team did, and I think it plays perfectly to Bob's point. It wasn't that clean, but good.
I don't think we played clean tonight. I don't think we played to our standard, nowhere near our standard. But I think the thing that you can't test or quantify is the resilience that a team has and the ability to persevere and see through things and overcome things. And this team has that. We've yet to put up a performance to our standard, but, we're continuing to find ways to win. And when you win games like we've won games, that builds a ton of character. Kind of I guess, character development mode with the games we've played and how we've won. And it'll only serve us great things in the future.
I admire the honesty. He said, we have not played a game yet to our standard. A lot of times you'll get coaches that are defiant, players that are defiant. That's great honesty out of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'd rather hear that than what do you want? We're 9-1.
Exactly. I love that answer.
Yeah, he's being honest. I think as a fan base, we're being honest. Yeah,
right.
Sure, absolutely.
Let's hear what Vaughn in Delaware has to say. Vaughn, you're on the John Kincade Show. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't really think that we played bad. Kansas City made us play bad. I think it's really just two teams head to head going at it that it's totally different from last year's Super Bowl team. We got to stop comparing this team to last year's Super Bowl team because it's totally different. We grind, we find ways to win. We got that Philly mentality, and that's really it. I don't think we look bad, really. I think the offensive play calling, that crap was horrible.
Then we did look bad then.
But we find ways to win.
I know that. Yeah, I mean, but
we're not the same team as last year. And people got to stop saying that. We got to find ways to win. It's a total different team. Our defense, hands down.
Second half was amazing.
Second half, that's amazing. I sat here and listened to you guys and said we never watched the Eagles game like that, and you're 100% right. I don't remember the last time I sat there and watched the Eagles game and say, dang, our defense is really shut Patrick Mahomes out. Even that last 4th and 25 or whatever.
Unreal.
I'm sitting there at the edge of my seat at my boy's house like, yo, the game not over, bro. Man, y'all won. The game is not over with Patrick Mahomes, and I believe in our birds, but that defense play is unreal. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate you, Vaughn. And if you want to get in on this, you can at 610-632-0975. The idea that I see 9-1, Pat, and I expect to say that's a picture. That's a team that is winning like last year. Last year when they were 9-1, there were like 5 blowouts. This year, every game is a knife fight on a back street in Fishtown. I mean, it's a completely different game, but I almost feel the scrappiness of this team might actually maybe they will be more battle tested.
Yeah, if that game goes down against the Giants,
you win by what?
Or if it goes down against the Colts or the Panthers, pissed.
Right.
But you go on the weather conditions for the majority of the game, you take the lead, you give the ball back to the best quarterback in football, and you shut them down. I don't know how anyone could come out, upset about the game. Like, in the moment, we were pissed off about how they were playing and stuff. Jalen Hurts has talked about it, like the standard and stuff. Well, the standard, no matter where you put it, is more than 21 points. And I think if I were to tell you going in, like, hey, Eagles are scoring 21 points, we're probably not sitting here going, oh, they won. But they did. And the fact that they won that game with everything that happened, with A.J. Brown only catching 1 pass for 8 yards. Like, if I give you that, 21 points, A.J. Brown, factory only catch 1 ball, no one's coming in thinking that game, and yet they found a way to win. And that's exactly what good teams do.
Kansas City dictated more of that game, way more of that game than the Eagles did.
I would agree.
Right? Somehow they found a spot against the best rushing defense to be able to exploit that. Right? They ran all over the Eagles. They were able to make the Eagles' offensive line look horrendous in that first half. They took away A.J. Brown. They did a lot of things that they probably set out to do before the game and were successful doing it. I still find it baffling how the Eagles found a way to win that game, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how they won it. It's the weirdest game I've ever seen. Dom, Tasty Cake Dom joins us. I know you've seen a ton of Eagles games. That's the weirdest I've ever seen. What about you?
Oh, it seemed like Kansas City had the ball forever. Aikman said when it was a 3-point game, it seems way more like a 3-point game, but that's what this team did. They're winners. They just find a way to win. So
I love that idea of the winners because, but when you think 9-1, if I said to you the Eagles are 9-1 again, you would have thought the Eagles would be a pretty product, right? I mean, I'm not crazy with this, right?
Yeah. Offensively, that's where they spent their money. You would think that they would have 4 or 5 drives like that, and they want a tough defensive game. John, I wanted to call you and tell you, thank God you're healthy and congratulations.
Thank you,
and,
Dom.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys. I'm going to be so joyful because I'm able to get. I'm actually leaving. I got myself back to work, so I'll be listening to the show. Putting the bread guys need some help putting stuffing out in the stuffing displays. So
that's good.
Listening to you guys, and I'm just for a 9-1 Eagles team. So happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
You too, Dom. Have a great
we
one,
both
buddy.
found our way through some health stuff too, man. Tough stuff, you buddy. Appreciate it very much. You want Jalen Hurts after the game. He also talked about being satisfied, and I love the fact that his answer was, "Hey, we're not," as Bob says. But you probably heard it a million times. Hey, what's our record? We're 9-1. What are you complaining about? Jalen Hurts is not happy, and it clearly comes across in this soundbite.
Just for us, just never getting too high, never getting too low. You win a whole bunch of different ways in this league, and I think everyone that's watching the game or whoever has to accept that. And in the end, winning is the only thing that matters. We continue to find ways to do that. It's a great thing for us. We continue to have a growth mindset and strive to play to our standard. That'll only serve us great things in the future as well. And there's an eagerness just to continue to get better. By any means, am I satisfied? I know my teammates, I know the guys in that locker room aren't satisfied either. But I just want to continue to grow, and there's the eagerness to do so.
On the interception that he threw, and A.J. Brown was sort of losing his mind on the sideline.
Yeah.
It was so weird to see Devontae Smith sort of laughing at A.J. Brown and just going, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Did a great job of describing it. He said,
Best
look,
of
A.J.
friends.
Brown's not wrong. A.J. Brown was open deep, and he put up his hand to say, throw it deep, I'm wide open. He beat him off the break. But as a quarterback, that's awfully hard to see when you have all of that massive bodies in front of you. Sometimes you just don't see it. So that's it. I thought that was the perfect explanation.
And then they were laughing. The next series, they were laughing together.
Yeah, on the bench.
On the bench.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny what Jalen Hurts said, that, we're not satisfied and all of that. And he said none of the guys in here are satisfied either. I bet you some of the defensive players were a little satisfied.
I think they should be right now.
Right? I mean, honestly, 17 points to Patrick Mahomes.
Shutting out the Chiefs and Miami in the second half, I'd be satisfied with that. I'd be excited for that.
So here's a question that popped into my head while he was talking. If there was a play in that game last night, Pat, you too. If there was a play in that game last night that perfectly personified the whole game, do you have one that jumps out to you? Because if you do, and maybe some callers want to chime in on this, because if you do, it might say a lot about how you viewed the win.
I saw the punch out of Travis Kelce.
Now, see, that's a real good positive thing.
To me, that was, you've played like crap for a lot of the night, but when you had an opportunity to make a play, damn if you didn't make a play.
And that was in the red zone, if I'm not.
Huge.
It was definitely in the red zone.
Inside the 15.
Yeah, that's a great one, John.
Me that goes, okay, wait a minute. We just got through crap. Oh, great play. And Pat, I don't know where you'd go, but that to me is the play.
That goes to, some people might say, crap. Oh, my God, they won the game.
Exactly.
So that's not a bad one. What about you, Pat? Do you have one that sticks out at all?
I just want to preface by saying I'm in a really good mood.
I like that.
But it probably skews negative. Mine was the almost sack that Fletcher Cox had, where he should have been able to hit Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes instead tight-roped and turned it into like a 15-yard gain. And it was just, I felt like it summed up the game because they were close to getting to him. It was frustrating. And yet, I think that might have been the drive where they did end up holding them. So, like, it was one of those bend, don't break moments. But in the moment, you're pissed off because they only got one sack on Patrick Mahomes. His ability to evade a pocket,
and it was the
second
play of the game.
Yeah, and it was clean. But other than that, like, his just ability to just not get hit is something. So that was mine. So frustrating because while I'm thrilled that we're coming in talking about a win, to act like it wasn't a frustrating game would be nonsensical. It was very frustrating to watch up until the point where they took the lead.
Well, Bob,
it's funny that Pat says it's going to skew negative. Mine was the drop by Valdez Scantling. Like,
You were
they
that
had
close
it
to
there.
that.
They had it right there. And I texted my old high school coach, Jimmy Crawford, after, because he has one of the best sports minds I have ever known in my life. So I said, quick question for you. He had texted me something, and I texted him back. I said, quick question for you. Did the Eagles win this game, or did the Chiefs lose this game? And he's like, ooh, interesting question.
Eagles won the game.
He went the
In
other
my
way.
mind,
He goes, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say the Chiefs lost the game.
Really?
But the Eagles are so good and so much to improve upon. They're the best team in football.
I think when you shut out the other team in the second half, when you force turnovers, when you score when you needed to score, you won the game. Like, I look at that as a win. And I would tend to be somebody who would answer the Chiefs lost it.
Yeah.
But last night I didn't feel that way. Hey, ring in the holidays. Save big with the Fanatics deal of the week. This week only, get 2 tickets to Yuletide at Devon. It's a European-inspired Christmas festival for just $35, and it's half price. It includes free carnival rides, photos with Santa, and live music. Plus, enjoy over 35 high-end boutique shops, chef-created menus, and craft drinks. Check out this exclusive offer now at 975thefanatic.com, keyword deal. And at the holidays, you're always looking for stuff to do, so get out there and do it.
You know, there was another aspect of the game last night, and I don't want to sound like this, what do you call it, hoagie mouth guy. But I think part of the reason it was a sloppy game, we can talk weather and both defenses, played pretty well, all of that. I think the refereeing had a lot to do with sloppy play, too. I just thought there was too many calls. I don't know who I was texting with. I said, please just let them play. Let them play. That's when you get your best. Yes, if there's egregiousness, you have to call it. But, I don't know, a guy running in the flat and making a turn and a guy touches his hip, you're going to call offensive holding on. Or, there was some blatant stuff that they didn't call. I think players would rather you let them play. Let us play so we know we can police ourselves. We know what we're going to get away with. We know what we can't get away with. I don't think the players had that feeling last night, and it did lead to a little bit of sloppiness.
I respectfully disagree.
Do you?
The only time I got mad at the refs was the Fletcher Cox roughing the passer. Because you look at the replay, and immediately, Patrick Mahomes, who people don't talk about it enough. I mean, the whininess of Patrick Mahomes is up there.
I see him do, and I'm doing this for the YouTube audience, throwing his hand up in the air, throw a flag. I saw him do it 4 different times.
Yeah, it's as if he's never just made a bad throw. It's something had to have happened. Throw a flag. That was the only moment where I was annoyed. But other than that, I didn't think the refs were that bad.
I just thought they were too involved.
It was very evened up though. It was only
it was 7-7 on penalties.
Yeah, it was very evened up. So I don't agree with you, and we're gonna fight about it.
No, that's fine. I think we look at it differently. I don't look at it like they made bad calls and all that, and that I was annoyed with the call. I just thought they were too involved. Sometimes you just got to let the guys play. I thought the Super Bowl against New England, let them play. It was a great game. The Super Bowl Chiefs-Eagles, kind of let them play, and it was a great game.
Until the end.
I just think players know, okay, good. You're going to let us be physical. You're going to let us – we know what we can't get away with, but just let us play. I wish there was a little bit more of that last night.
I want to get after it a little bit with the question Bob asked. Did the Eagles win the game more, or did the Chiefs lose it? You heard Coach Crawford's answer. You heard my answer. What's your answer? At 610-632-0975. We'll hear from some of our jurors as they put their testimony in. Bottom line, Eagles are 9-1, and I told you yesterday, the NFC's over if they won that game last night, and I really believe it is. I'll do the math for you, too. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. Look, if you're finally going to get after that home fix project that you've been waiting to do, the big remodel, or you look at and say, yep, I'm getting after it.
Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
It's a victorious Tuesday morning. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. Eagles are 9-1. And that's the bottom line. Every other storyline is underneath the fold, to use an old newspaper reference. They're 9-1, and they really are. The math is beautiful this morning, and I never liked math much in school.
There was no fold in the Daily News, John.
There was no fold. There was a fold and a half.
But that's not below the fold.
It was side of the fold as they moved.
Below the
you
fold
like your
would be an inquiry.
Do we have a fold fight going on?
That's it.
Huh?
Yeah,
A fold fight?
We were a tabloid, John.
I love the math right now for the Eagles, and I said it to you yesterday, and a gentleman just DMs me, and he goes, you keep saying this nonsense. This is far from over. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, they're at 9. They're at 9. If you assume, can we assume, Giants, Cardinals, Giants, that they could win all those games, or that you should assume they will win all those games? Tommy DeVito and the Cardinals at home and Tommy DeVito on Christmas, I would assume that's a festive party. That gets you to 12. All you got to do is get to 14. So that means the gauntlet you're talking about, because you got 2 wins in the way, you now just got to go 2-2. Go 2-2. Bills, 49ers,
go
Cowboys,
4-0.
Seahawks. No, it'd be great, but you don't have to. 14 is the number. Get to 14. And that's the one last night, though, that you couldn't assume, and they found a way to get it. The question was, Bob put it out there, did the Eagles win or did the Chiefs lose? And there will be a lot of people on that at 610-632-0975.
Just a fun question. I'm not looking at it serious like, oh, the Eagles didn't win.
No.
No, just a fun question. Like, what do you think? What hit you more? The Eagles went out and won that game, or, man, Kansas City blew it. They lost that game. I just think it's an interesting, like little talking point.
Jalen Hurts caught up with Lisa Salters after the game on ESPN postgame, and if you didn't hear it, this is what he had to say.
I think we're still building. I think we're still learning. We got a ton to improve on. We're truly taking it 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 rep at a time in practice. But there's a ton of opportunity out there for us. We just have to continue to have the growth mindset we have and just continue to get better.
Okay. That's I love the fact he's very self-effacing to me. He's
Almost
never,
to a degree of annoyance.
he's never pleased.
Yeah,
He's never pleased. And that serves him well. That's his fuel.
it is. And it does. And you're right. And that's all cool.
But
And
it still
I don't
seems
mind him
weird
at all.
to me.
I could see people being like, all right, man, come on, like change it up a little bit. Like let's show some happiness. Let's get on the sideline and talk to somebody, whatever. But that's him, and that's what motivates him, and that's what keeps him going, and that's what made him, the last 28 games that he's played as a starting quarterback in the NFL, he's 25-3.
Still going to complain about it.
That's just it can't all hurts, obviously.
Right.
The fact that the Eagles, no, they lost also two other games when he was there. He's 25-3 in 28 games.
I would assume, and again, I'd say it to you, the Eagles, though, and Troy Aikman pointed out, in the pregame show they pointed out, the Eagles have the best 11 on offense in the NFL. And they even said above Miami. And and Troy Aikman was along the lines of, I don't think it's even going to be close. I don't think that's really close. So they should be doing these things. They should be doing that. Let's hear Lisa Salters with Jalen after the game.
They just played a great game. We're able to contain them. We didn't help them out enough, but we found a win. I think the beautiful thing about this is, we're winning games and we still have got to play our best ball. So there's a lot to work for, to be encouraged by for sure, but, we're far from the finished product.
Okay, can I say one thing here about that? It pisses me off a little bit. How many times am I going to hear it? Because I hear it over and over and over again. Pat, and I think it plays to our frustration with the coordinator at times on the offensive side of the ball. I've heard that soundbite from Jalen Hurts at least 7 or 8 times this year. That can't happen after game 10. At some point, you got to fix the problems you're having. And I think the game moves too fast for Brian Johnson. And remember, the biggest play of the game the Devontae Smith catch, that was not a Brian Johnson play call. That was is Jalen Hurts going, nope, not doing that play. I'm calling my own. And he did. So don't give Brian Johnson say, wow, what a great that was. Why are you not mentioning it? Because that was Jalen Hurts at the scrimmage.
No, Brian Johnson's horrible. He's horrible. There's no defending it. Don't give me the stats and the numbers on. He's horrible. When you watch the game, if you're sitting there agreeing with the stuff that he's doing, I just can't help you. You're beyond help. And normally I would agree with you on I've heard it every week, but when you go into Kansas City and play the Chiefs, I don't care how you do it. If you come out with a win, that's all I care about. If this, as I said, if this were like a game against the Chargers on the road, then I'd be like, yeah, this is annoying me. That team, that environment, no, I'm cool with having that message. But if it happens against the Bills at home, then yeah. And the sad part, John, is I expect to hear it against the Bills at home. And I expect to hear it against the Giants at home. And I expect, it's just because that has been the message all season long, but it's just not the message that I care to listen to today.
Let's hear what Ed has to say. Ed, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Good morning, guys. Great points on that. And, John, you hit it right on the head about I think the game is too fast for him. But before I forget, I was over the weekend in Jamison showing homes this weekend, and your name came to mind, and I forgot about your health because I haven't talked to you guys in a while, and I was wondering how you were, and then I heard you're doing great. And
yes, last Tuesday we got the good news, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great news. Jamison's a great area. But back to Bobby's point, I think what kept both teams in the game, the Chiefs' offensive line is phenomenal, and I don't think the defense. The Eagles, home place, 17 points. They played. The other thing too, the Chiefs secondary, they almost have been drinking gallons of Red Bull because I've never seen them, and I watch a lot of football. I've never seen them so fast where they blanketed our receivers. They were right on them like glue. It was crazy.
It was tough.
It was, but I think that defense for the Eagles won the game.
I love it.
They look really good. Ed, you take care of yourself, buddy. That's a friend of mine from South Jersey right
What's
there.
up, Eddie?
Yeah. They did that second half, and it's pointed this out all week that the Chiefs hadn't scored a point in the previous halves. And it happens again. Yeah, so odd. Again, is that one of those mental things that you get into sports where they come out at halftime and it's like, oh, my God, we haven't scored in the second half the last two games. We got to do something. And the next thing you know, the game's over and you've done it again. I think one of the keys to this defense, and you mentioned his name earlier, John, is Bradley Roby. I just think he brings some stability to that
last
slot.
night, big time.
Yeah, I do. I think he brings stability to the slot. And if you're fully healthy again next week, you're actually going to start a defensive second the second week in a row. Wow, that's kind of amazing. And in 11 games, you really haven't done that yet. So I'm looking forward to that challenge, obviously, in a passing game of the Buffalo. But, I agree with you in that second half. Were they helped out? Yes, but they also did some really good things. I was really concerned with the tackling. Most of the game, I thought it was horrendous. Eagles.
Even their punt coverage.
Oh, God.
Was terrible.
Yeah, that was bad. But it started early in the game where they threw an out to somebody, and I forget who it was, and Slay came up and just totally whiffed. Totally whiffed. And they should have had a guy down at like the 20, and he avoids him and gets down to like the 8-yard line. And I was like, what happened there? I thought for the rest of the night, the Eagles' tackling was suspect. It got better as the game went on, fortunately. But, yeah, that was suspect in the early part of the game. I don't know if you guys thought the same thing or not.
I did not. I was annoyed more than anything, Pat, at the missed tackles. And I thought it was the missed tackles and the punt coverage. Again, I had memories of the Super Bowl.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, Josh Jobe especially, like that tackle that he had late in the game.
Well, late in the game was a great one.
Yeah.
But up until that point.
Well, it was on both sides. Like, Britton Covey's punt returns were great.
Well, another thing there, Britton Covey is.
Yeah, he actually looks like he went from the guy that Bob would turn to whoever was next to him and go, yeah, just watch this guy get smashed. And now it's like, oh, all right. Like, I have confidence in this guy, like, popping off a nice run.
He's going to be a Pro Bowl punt returner.
You think so?
Could be.
He's leading the league.
That's a good
He
point.
might be.
Caller has
He
a
does
point.
get smeared,
He
too.
does
Yeah,
get smoked.
but
He doesn't cough up the ball.
No?
no, I mean, he's fumbled I think one time. And he recovered it.
7 a.m. hour brought to you by the BetParks app. Love the BetParks app. Download it, betparks.com. You got to be in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. Carlos in says, Carlos, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good, buddy.
First of all, you guys should be extremely show on TV, on radio.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate
Secondly, everybody a healthy and safe Thanksgiving.
that. Yes,
You
that's
too, buddy.
awesome. Thank you, buddy.
My best friend and I are constantly for the Eagles, and we all talk about peaking. It's week 11. The Eagles are 9-1. They haven't played great any single game. They haven't played excellent in any single game. If they were playing fantastic and they peaked last night, we'd be in trouble in the playoffs. Texas
Really?
Rangers
You think they
peaked at
would?
the right time. The Texas Rangers peaked at the right time. They won a World Series. I think we're looking for the Eagles to peak much closer towards the end of the season. So it is frustrating. Believe me, I wanted to smash my TV for the last 10 weeks, the last 10 games. But I think it's really all about peaking at the right time.
Here's the only thing I'm going to ask you, Carlos, is that with
Yes.
your theory, okay, now you got the Bills and the 49ers and the Cowboys coming up. That's huge. That's a good stretch.
Right.
You're at
Absolutely.
you're at the Seahawks, but you end with the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants. So if I see them playing great against the Giants, Cardinals, and Giants, I'm going to say, well, there's a reason. They're crappy teams in the top 6 of the draft, and they're not the kind of teams you have to beat in the playoffs.
You may think like that, but in sports it doesn't work like that. Hot teams just go in and they annihilate the tough teams and they annihilate the bad teams. And that's what we need the Eagles to do. We need them to peak towards the end of the season.
Okay.
If they were peaking right now, I really would be worried.
Okay.
The only concern I have about the Eagles is the offensive coordinator. I think he's horrendous.
Oh my gosh, I think he's.
I
drives me
think Carlos
crazy.
makes a great point. It's not so much opponents like you're saying to me, John. And I think Carlos, it's kind of like you look at the Eagles and you go, yep, there they are. Yep, that's them. No matter the opponent. Remember how many times I've told you, like when I was covering the Sixers and you'd go to San Antonio and play, and the Sixers were horrendous, losing 26 in a row. You just looked at San Antonio and you knew, my God, they're playing this well against a horrible team. It's exactly how they would play against Miami, against Boston, against the good teams also. Great teams, you can't tell who the opponent is. You can't. They play their game, and I think that's to Carlos's point. We haven't seen the best of the Eagles, I don't think, yet this year, and probably nobody out there really does. That is kind of a good thing.
It's a great thing. And
It's a great thing if they get to that.
9-1, but 9-1.
No, I know, but I'm talking about playing their best football. If they haven't yet, that's a great thing.
Doesn't every coach want that?
They always say that you got to deliver.
You're 9-1, but you have stuff to get on their asses about every day at practice.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and when you have your leader of the team and Jalen Hurts saying it too, like, we haven't played our best football yet. We're glad we won, but we haven't played our best football yet. I like that mentality. I'm okay with that. And I think this team is smart enough, veteran-led enough that they know it also.
My man James Nagel out of Westchester comes up with this. Teams with back-to-back 9-1 or better starts in the NFL. The 69-70 Vikings lost their first Super Bowl. The 72-73 Dolphins won their second Super Bowl. The 49ers of 90 won their first Super Bowl. The Bills lost their second Super Bowl. The Broncos won their second Super Bowl. The Colts won their first Super Bowl. And we'll find out about the Eagles. It's elite company. Only 6 other teams that have done that. That's a pretty amazing number with some great coaches that are a part of that. That's an amazing number. All right, we do have one story we got to hit on. Aaron Nola re-signed and media yesterday. But I want you to hear from Jason Stark because I'm going to tell you, yesterday afterwards, I had a phone call with an exec and just was kicking around, a contact. And he was like, everything that is being said about the Phillies and the Braves was false. The Braves were absolutely in on Nola, but they were out rather early because they knew Aaron Nola wanted to be a Philly. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's an awesome thing that Aaron Nola was like, look, if all things are equal, and the Braves were never going to give them the number. The $30 million number was ridiculous. And that's one of the things that Jason Stark yesterday told the Best Show Ever. $30 million was not on the table.
That $30 million a year thing was the biggest factor. Was there anyone else who looked at Aaron Nola as a $30 million a year starting pitcher? And obviously, that answer is no. I think once it became clear to him that $30 million a year was not there, then he made a clear decision. He wanted to be a Philly. The Phillies wanted him to be a Philly. They definitely didn't want him to be a Brave. This made sense. They wound up at basically the average annual salary they always thought was the right fit. But he wound up at his contract length at 7 years. As we've seen in the Bryce contract and the Trey Turner deal, they like length. It keeps the annual salary down. It keeps the tax payments down. And I think that applied again here. When you add all of that up, I think this deal made sense to everyone. And it tells us the big dollars he was looking for were not there. So at that point, comfort level might be more to him than anything.
Plays to something that you talk about all the time. We'll talk about at the trade deadline. Brand player. And you'll be like, you're thinking it's going to cost more. And I'll give you, and you would give me like 5 examples of, look, these guys went for this. It's the money that was being talked about with Nola was never there. It was fiction.
Yeah, I thought for sure that he would be a 30-plus, the desperation factor for starting pitcher.
And that's a good reason to think it.
Yeah, I was convinced. And I wonder how much the Carlos Rodon contract factored into teams being scared off, because Carlos Rodon signed for big money. And it was, I mean, it's 1 year in, but it's been, it was absolute disaster. So I wonder how many teams were kind of scared off by that. It was very similar in terms of Carlos Rodon sucked most of his career. And then all of the last 3 years, he was really, really good. And when you look at Aaron Nola, it's similar in the sense of like, it's good year, bad year. But ultimately, the money I was happy with.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
If you end up getting good Nola, it's an absolute steal. If you get bad Nola, number 4 Nola, you're overpaying. But, I mean, ultimately, $25 million for him. I think I would have signed up for that. I do wonder what was the price that the Phillies were giving his agent, and what price did his agent want at spring training?
I will tell you
I was convinced he was gone.
I will tell you the Braves made an offer. The Braves did not make an offer for more money than the Phillies were willing to pay him. And I feel very confident in stating that as complete fact. And they also were not going to go 7 years.
Well, I'm wondering if the Phillies, by waiting, got a bargain on him, or if they paid about what they were talking about in spring training. Like, did Nola's reps want $30 million in spring training, and that's kind of the sticking point?
Right.
Or was this a situation of actually waiting and having Nola being on a down year ended up benefiting the Phillies, where you got him at 25 and not $30 million?
Here was a Wilds thing, though, that came out of Jason Stark's mouth yesterday. Castellanos started the talk that, oh, no, we're not interested in dealing Castellanos. Well, Jason Stark had a different story to tell.
I would not believe the denials on those Nick Castellanos trade rumors. I know from talking to other teams, they let everyone know he was available. There's just no serious interest. I quoted an executive from one other team as saying that if somebody called on him, they'd say yes in 30 seconds. And I think that's true. I just think he'll be back because there just wasn't enough value out there.
Nobody wants that contract. Nobody wants it. And it's one of those things where it frustrates me because Dave Dombrowski spoke too. And this sort of bothers me here is that it's all this rolling it back thing. And he talked about the starting rotation. And he said, okay, we're done. So the Yamamoto stuff, no, not true. He's done. He's finished. Listen.
Yes, I do. We have 5 starters that we like. When you look at some of the statistical models, we had the best WAR of our group of any team in Major League Baseball. So we like our 5 starters, and we look like we're set.
The whole rolling it back. So they're rolling it back.
Looks like we're set.
Even to Jake Cave.
Looks like we're set.
What do you mean? Looks like we're set?
He said it looks like we're set.
He's not. They're not in on Yamamoto.
It looks
Enough
like
people have said they're not in on Yamamoto. No, I mean Jason's just there. It's not there.
I didn't hear that cut.
But that's not.
I didn't hear the cut that Jason said they're not. I just heard Dave Dombrowski said it looks like we're set.
Oh,
don't
geez.
kill my dream.
Oh, geez,
don't kill my dream.
They're not. I mean,
let me be angry when he signs with somebody else.
Well, let you be angry here. Aaron Nola speaking, saying what really came down to it, he wanted to be here.
I mean, I've always wanted to be a Philly. I've always been a Philly. This is kind of the only place that we kind of had our eyes set on and the most comfortable place for me. Like I said, everybody in this organization is so good, has been so committed to winning, committed to the players.
I confirmed that also yesterday. He was absolutely transparent. And Bob, one of the things that was said to me was, very rarely do you get these free agent discussions where guys are completely transparent. And Aaron Nola was. If all's equal, I'm going to Philly. So I want you to know that before we start negotiating. So I admire that about Aaron Nola. I'll give him credit for that. I admire that because that to me shows integrity. You know, here's where I want to be. I'm just going to tell you, here's where I want to be.
Yeah, I just had it in my mind he was going to be here. I had it in my mind what the contract was going to be, one way or the other. And it kind of worked out. So to me, none of this is really all that surprising.
It's great. I think it's great. I'm glad to have him back just because I don't think there are a ton of better options out there. But all right, back to the Eagles. We'll have plenty of it. And we asked the question earlier, did the Eagles win this game or did the Chiefs lose it? But before we go, Eddie in Kensington has a question. Eddie, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Hey, good morning, boys. Love the show.
Thank you, Eddie.
Long-time listener. Hey, obviously the years, given the mileage on Nola's arm, I think the Phillies are actually paying for one Tommy John year in the 7-year contract. I think inevitably he's got so much wear and tear. And, we call it reliability because he's pitched so many innings, but I got to imagine something's coming in the next 7 years that the Phillies just said, look, we'll eat it. This is really probably more like a 5.5, 6-year contract.
Eddie, he wants to answer you. Aaron Nola wants to answer you right now. Listen to this.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I'm going to stick to my routine and what I've done up to this point. I feel like I have some ways that I believe I can make myself healthy and stay healthy. But it's all about figuring out what I need to do and what I don't need to do. If I'm too tired, if I'm not too tired, to back off. Kind of like Dave was talking about earlier, there's no set thing I have to do every single day anymore. I learned that early in my career that it doesn't work for me. And I hope I age well for sure. I'm going to do everything I can to stay durable and take the ball every time they ask me to.
You missed it, Eddie. He said, Take that, Eddie from Kensington.
Yeah, you can dry that up and fertilize it. But guys, here's
I like his durability. I applaud him for it.
Here's my question, though. All things stay the same. If our coaching staff stayed the same, Real Muto stays the same, and he goes to the Braves, who has the advantage? Do our hitters have the advantage on him, or does he have the advantage on our hitters? And I'll hang up and
Thank you, buddy. Have a good Thanksgiving.
It's probably a little bit of both. It's a good question. I would say hitters because pitchers, I think it's easier to study pitchers than it is to study hitters. You know what I mean? I think it's easier for hitters to look at a pitcher and say, okay, here's his tendencies.
Right.
Here's what his breaking stuff is, whatever. Hitters, you just, you go up there, you know where the guy's going to throw the ball. You're going after it.
Unless you're living in Oz, you know that Brian Johnson is a major concern. Or you may let the cologne of 9-1 take you away from that opinion. We'll talk about it next. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. I love that. Eagles win, or did the Chiefs lose? It's been one show on 97.5 The Fanatic. It's been a fun morning as the Eagles are 9-1, and that's bottom line to me. That's the bottom line. Every conversation must start there.
I can't wait to go back, and I'll do it today because we're traveling tomorrow. Some of the family's traveling. I'm going to watch the game again today and see what my thoughts were. I'm excited to watch it again. I'll see if I come out of it saying, wow, that was an ugly win, or, wow, they really made the Chiefs look ugly.
I think it's going to look like, Pat, if he watches this game, if he watches the 15-minute game that I love to watch on the app on my iPad, if he watches that, it's going to look like one of those car crash videos, where you watch the video on YouTube, and it just has the cars crashing and everything, because that's what I sort of feel watching it. The result, I love. Love it.
It's amazing the different mood and mindset you have when you win a game like that as opposed to if they were to lose.
I probably wouldn't even rewatch it if
they were to lose. It's doom and gloom, and you had 15 days, and that's what you come out with, and they win, and the narrative is, yeah, it's ugly, but who cares? They won. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game. I never need to go back and watch that game.
I'm gonna do it at some point. Probably not today.
You two are stronger than me.
But I'll watch the 15-minute version. Do it again. I can't. And by the way, watching it with a 19-year-old female who was yelling at the TV all night long and complaining and thinking it was gloom and doom was driving me crazy. I'm like, why do you think gloom and doom with the Eagles? They're the best team in the NFL. Give them at least that they could still pull this out. And then she's like, you're right, Dad. They did. Yeah, but it was like 3 hours of hell.
It seemed like they were down 2 scores the entire game, and you have to remind yourself, like, oh, they're only down 3.
Yes.
Oh, they're only down 7.
Hey, Michael in Yardley joins us on The Fanatic. Brian Johnson.
Guys.
Brian Johnson, please.
He has to go. He has to go, guys. Can you believe that we ran plays up to as many as 4 times in a row this game?
Oh my gosh, the bubble screen crap.
Even the screen that Swift got like a lot of yards on, we ran that to the right, to the left, to the right again. It was so predictable, the game planning. It was absolutely ridiculous. And to see that juxtaposed to what Nagy and Reed is doing on the opposite side, it's alarming to a football mind. There were so many times where Mahomes put people in motion to see what defense we were in. It was pretty common. There's a couple times that they put Pachenko in motion. Oh, they're in zone, soft zone. We're going to run this play. Oh, they're in man. When Kelsey goes in motion, we're going to, hey, man, we're going to run this play.
Yeah.
Brian is throwing darts in the dark.
Yeah.
No consistency or continuity to the formations and the plays he's running. When we're in this formation, we know what play they're running because they only run one play out of this formation.
I don't think he can explain to. I've listened to enough of his press conferences and everything. I appreciate your call. Have a good Thanksgiving. I've heard enough of his press conferences and Bob doing Speak for Yourself and things like that where I go, I don't think he articulates. One thing I need to know is, tell me why you did what you did. Explain the thought process. I think he is horrendous at it. I think the game is too fast for him. And I will continue to say that's exactly what I think the problem is. The game moves too fast for him.
Yeah, first half you have DeAndre Swift with 8 carries, 47 yards, 6 yards a carry. You come out in the third quarter, 17-7. Who's in your backfield? Boston Scott.
And
like,
you always
he does that. Yeah, that's exactly.
But what the hell?
Dude, he does that a lot where he'll come out. What was the game where, like, Rashad Penny was...
Yeah, it was like 2 games ago. Yeah, it got the first 2 carries in the third quarter.
Like, does it kill you? No, but it adds on to the frustration level of this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
I really was. I was at the point last night where I'm more animated today than I was last night, but I just laughed. Like, you took the ball in the second half for just this reason. You're down 17-7. Kansas City hasn't scored a point in the second half in the previous 2 games. You have to get back into it. And your first play is a handoff to Boston Scott, one of the 2 carries he had all night. Then you hand it to DeAndre Swift, and then you run a quarterback draw on like 3rd and 6. And it's nothing, and it's 3 and out. And I'm scratching my head like, wait, did you go into the locker room and say, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to surprise them with Boston Scott?
And it's not a surprise because you talk about it and Pat talks about it all the time. So it's not a surprise. Ike in Southwest Philly is going to, I think, defend Brian Johnson. I this morning, bye-bye.
Nah, I drink. So here's the thing. Like everybody else say, I'm very happy their pocketbook
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that, Ike, so much.
Yes, sir. So all I'm doing is I think with some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff y'all say is valid, but that's also say, like, he did call that third down play, I'm presuming.
Which one?
The one that Devontae got.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Which
the one that
which one, Ike?
The one before the bomb to Devontae when it was like 3rd and 6, and he did that. They did that trips play that Aikman was talking about. That was a beautiful design.
Okay.
Remember Devontae got the third down
conversion
before we threw the bomb, and he was the one calling. I thought he might have been the one that was calling the screen plays to Swift that beat them. What about the jet sweep? So all I'm saying is, I agree with y'all. It was suspect with some of them calls, but you gotta give them credit for some of the calls that actually worked. And
but wait a minute.
About hold on. But y'all talk about the draw play. He also called. I think I think Hurts might have did it, but the draw play did get us a touchdown too. So I'm just being fair.
Yeah, but like here's fairer though. He goes into every single game, and not last night potentially because it was a great defense he was playing. But he goes into every single week. It's almost like Alabama in an SEC game. He knows I've got the advantage at almost every single position on offense. I've got the best offensive talent in the NFL. Line, skill players, a quarterback who is an MVP type candidate. So to me,
line wasn't playing good at first.
No, they weren't. But what part does he play in that?
Well, what part does the line? Because you could.
No, I agree with you.
Wait, hold on, I'm just saying you can go both ways because maybe his call's not working because the line not holding up. Because the line was very suspect in the first half. We couldn't handle the blitz in the first. We wasn't passing off and stuff like that. And I think that's a team thing. I know it's sort of such a cop out to say a team thing.
No, it's not bad.
But I think so. But then again, y'all have a great show, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks.
Take care, man. I look. There's a balance there, but you can't.
Yeah, we talked about it. They're 3 for 3 in the red zone. I get it there. I mean, they've gotten better in the as the year has gone on.
They have. I don't understand the play. And I don't think that anyone truly understands the play calling. And he calls odd stuff at odd times. And I'm tired of hearing that. Well, it worked. They got 28 points a game. Now they've dropped down. Now they're the 5th highest scoring offense. And it's now gone to that. So now we got to the next thing. It's just there's numbers and there's numbers. And when you have the number one as far as talent, you've got all that talent at your disposal. I don't expect you to be struggling for 3/4 of offense in a game. I don't expect it.
Well, when you're playing a really good team and maybe the best team in the AFC, they're going to have something to do with it also. I don't think this offense has lived up to its potential yet this year very much. I agree with you on that. A.J. Brown has been phenomenal. Yeah, but I do. I just think there's more to it. Now, at one point last night, I think Aikman brought it up and said, people just on the surface don't realize how much Dallas Goedert has missed. And, he knows a lot more football than I ever will. The fact that he brought it up, I think he was seeing something there. And was like, yeah, normally this would happen, and they just can't do it without Dallas Goedert. So that's going to be a little bit of a transition period, too.
They had a great broadcast last night, I thought. If anyone's complaining about that broadcast last night, I don't know why, because I thought that was one of the best national broadcasts the Eagles have had all year long. I really enjoyed it, and I wasn't offended by it. Hey, E-Rock, my man, put your hand on the Bible, E-Rock. Come on now. What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, champions find a way to win. It's all that matters. Watching these Eagles games is like when my wife decided that she was going to date me. It isn't good looking. There's no style points awarded, but I guess it'll get the job done. This team has an internal belief that even when they're down against the team that they lost to in the Super Bowl, they somehow believe they can still get the job done. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about just believing, never giving up. Move over, Rocky Balboa. This team, this city, they have a new idol in town. They now have a new person that they can that embodies the city, and that is absolutely Jalen Hurts. Now, criticisms, okay, Brian Johnson, throwing wide receivers, the old-ass Julio Jones ain't going to get the job done. first of all. And second of all, that offensive line is better than what they played last night, and the communication simply has to be better so we don't have to scratch and claw and come back and we can start dominating teams again.
Great job, E-Rock.
E-Rock, you're the best.
That was fantastic. Absolutely. What a summary. What a summary of the events. But we have another juror who's waiting here, and the Bible is ready for her. Karen B. joins us. Karen, come on. What you got for us?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
John, we are thrilled that
Thank you so
everything has
much.
turned out so well for you.
Thank you. It's a Thanksgiving miracle.
Oh, my gosh. You're going to be really Thanksgiving.
I am.
All right. Originally, I had to rip up what I wrote because the second half, my whole mind, the first half, it was like watching two different games. The first half was what the hell. The second was just great adjustments. Not by Brian Johnson, though, but by Desai. I mean, they shut Kansas City out. The secondary looked so much better with Roby. And that Kevin Byard, he really did well. And I also loved Reddick and Travis Kelce getting into it. I think once he did that, I really think he got into Kelce's head. You know, he dropped passes. That's not like him. Fumbled. It was just great. And Devontae Smith and Swift, wow. They did amazing. And you know what? Number one team in the NFL, 9-1, go Birds.
There you go, Karen. Good job. Have a great
Karen.
Thanksgiving.
Good Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. You too.
I
Bye.
will talk to you next Monday.
We are thankful for them.
Very thankful.
How about Karen's father being a prominent referee, college basketball referee, Jody Sylvester?
And you two, just found that out.
She emailed me, and she's like, I don't know if you know my father. And I was like, oh, of course I know. I think we've met. I know his name very well. But, yeah, that's pretty funny. We're all related somehow, Pat.
Yeah, there's always the 6 degrees, right?
I guess.
You
I
understand
don't know where to
it.
go with that.
All right, just throwing it out
I mean,
there.
I feel like Bob just made up a name and threw out the word referee.
No, I did not.
No, it's Karen B's dad.
Of course.
That's amazing.
Prominent college basketball referee.
And it's weird that we would never know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Bob could have thrown out any name, and I would have just nodded and, oh, yeah, of course.
That's out of boy. Just keep doing that.
I just want to make sure that we slip this in today a little bit. Bob, the in-season tournament ends tonight for the Sixers. So if they win, they've got a great chance to advance.
So it
But
doesn't
it's-
end tonight.
No, they got a great chance to advance, but everybody else has to wait and see how everybody else shakes out. And you would want Indiana to a couple games, but maybe the automatic bid to the next, and you wouldn't have to play the wild card type of thing. Listen to Pat. He's dismissive of this. Like, you can't believe.
I'm right there with him.
Hey, it's the blood red floor tonight.
I want them to win because I'm a Sixers fan, but I do not care about the in-season tournament.
No.
I think there's in-season tournament gear.
There is. Oh,
that you can
absolutely.
even
there
buy.
is. Yeah. Whoever wins the championship, there will absolutely be Fanatic ads on your phone that have in-season tournament champion. Oh, absolutely.
What about the NBA Cup? I saved this one up today.
Is that a thing?
Yes, that's what you win.
That's what you win? Why don't we just call them the Adam Silver Bowl?
They went with
It's a Silver Bowl.
That's
it's
not
named
bad.
after Adam Silver, the man that's forcing this upon us. It just makes the most sense.
Bob, the NBA Cup. Could you tell me a little bit about it? Anything as far as the excitement of winning?
A lot of
an
guys
NBA
don't
Cup?
wear cups. Some that have been hit there a few times have. They do wear them because, just as a protection. I don't think cups are that prominent in the NBA, not that I've been able to see. So I played with a kid in high school that wore a cup a lot of times, so we would purposely go after him. But no, I don't think cups are real prominent in the NBA.
So it's going to be you just got to.
You just kind of put the jock on and roll with it, yeah.
And when you go up, though, in the NBA, I don't have jumps myself. I can't put an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper under my feet. But for the guys that have the leaping ability, I would imagine then you are very vulnerable if you don't have the cup.
Yeah.
Not the NBA Cup, Bob. It's
Could be, yeah.
It's
yeah.
the title. When you win, you get the NBA Cup.
When you win what?
The in-season tournament.
Hey, I said to you the other day in the middle of the hallway, I said, all right, everybody, what does IST stand for? Because I read on Twitter, like somebody's like, this IST. And I'm like, what the hell? And tournament. got it. And I said to you, I said, so stop talking yourself into it.
All right, so I would like to thank, because I know Bob and Pat both had fingerprints on the crime scene, and Jamie Frankel and others
This was all
around
Pat.
around here, Pat.
Others.
That tonight,
That was Jamie.
I will be honored to ring the bell before the 76ers game tonight. And when I got the news yesterday, it really did choke me up big time. And I thank you guys for that. And I thank all the
Don't miss.
well-wishers. I'm not going to do a topper. I'm not going to. He was thinking about Castellanos.
And everybody thinks that till the bright lights are there and you hear Matt Cord's voice. And
Well, Matt Cord's beautiful voice is going to boom.
that bell isn't as big as you think, you know?
It looks pretty big, though.
It does, but
It looks like you couldn't miss it.
it looks like it, but yet some people have missed it.
Some people have
Some
missed
people
it.
have
Other
broke
than
it. Oh, yeah. No, some people have, yeah.
I heard some people have broken the
Some actor that missed it.
the handle.
Yeah,
Like,
Triple
they've
H.
broken the
Triple
handle.
H
Triple
broke
H
it.
broke
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, we rung
I
it.
don't think that they're going to run that risk with me.
No, I think
I'm just
you'll be
guessing.
Good. Yeah.
That they won't be doing that. But I really appreciate the love from the Sixers and everybody that has shared good thoughts and everything. And we're looking forward to it tonight. And the in-season tournament makes it perfect. I mean, it really does. It makes it perfect.
Don't wear red; you'll blend in.
Yeah, that's
well,
why,
I got it. I can't wear red. That's the one thing I do know.
That's why they decided to have you do it tonight. Is they knew they were running out of time with the in-season tournament, and
Right.
they wanted to get the biggest in-season tournament fan.
Absolutely, and
the only,
and the biggest in-season tournament game. I mean, this is great. I feel very honored, though.
This is, I mean, in Monday Night Football, no, take a back seat.
Let me tell you how much this in-season tournament means to all of the people involved in it. You know, especially the teams that want to win it so badly.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Cleveland Cavaliers tonight will be without Caris LeVert. He's going to miss tonight, or he's questionable with knee soreness.
Questionable.
But Donovan Mitchell, Isaac, Ricky Rubio, they're all going to miss the game tonight. Boy,
Wow.
this in-season tournament stuff is just revving these guys up to get out there and win that
3-1
Cup or whatever.
No, it's called the NBA Cup, Bob. Show the proper respect for it. I'm thinking I may get a peek at it tonight. Maybe they have it on
Hey, you going to
display.
touch it?
Sort of like no, you don't touch it till you win it.
Oh.
Or is that the Stanley Cup, Pat? It's
I think the trophy that actually matters. Yeah, the Stanley Cup.
It says. There is. It is absolutely awesome, and Pat wants to brag on Howie Roseman and some of the acquisitions he made that helped drag the team to victory, as he puts it last night. Get to that next. Plus, more of your calls as you decide: Eagles win or did Chiefs lose? And it seems as if people are leaning towards Eagles won. I love that. They're 9-1 this morning. John 5, the Fanatic. I know this. If I ran a company, I'd
Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
I bet that your Tuesday morning, and Tuesday morning is always my worst day of the week. If I was saying the day I would get rid of, it's Tuesday. I think it hits a little different this morning after that win last night. And yes, we all rode the emotions together as the Eagles come away with a amazing victory. I don't know the proper word to describe it, but the way that game went down last night, I would say unlikely victory is fair. That it was an unlikely victory last night, the way that game went, even though we thought they were going to win yesterday.
Yeah.
It's still, if you told me they were going to play like that, I would have thought that they would have lost big time.
You know, somebody I saw on Twitter today, and I think it's somebody I follow, so they said the Eagles played their worst game of the season last night and still won the football game.
Is that the worst?
I mean, I would assume that the Jets game was worse
That's the
because you
worst.
had so many turnovers. But maybe I'd have to really go back and look. But again, like we're talking about two really good teams going after each other, a bad game against a really good team has to be more expected.
Okay.
A really good team is going to try to make you look bad. They're going to try to exploit your weaknesses, whatever they may be. That's what good teams do to each other. So, yeah, it wasn't the fancy, good-looking loss in the Super Bowl last year. It was the ugly, dirty. Maybe that's how the Eagles have to win games this year.
And it is, Pat, when I look at it, I'll look at the Jets game as worse because of the fact that they lost. But overall, they played a pretty good defensive game that day. They just came up short.
They weren't exactly playing a vaunted offense.
No.
But, yeah, I would expect you to be able to handle Zach Wilson.
Wow.
It's tough. It's almost as tough as Tommy DeVito. But, yeah, look, I mean, the defense, anytime you can hold Patrick Mahomes to 17 points, I don't care what they've done the last 3 weeks of the second half or who their wide receivers are. Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes at the end of the day. And the big thing for me was they kept Travis Kelce in check. Now, yeah, he had the touchdown on the rub route, but Kevin Byard, like, you saw why they went out and they got him, and you saw why the talk leading into this game about Kevin Byard putting handcuffs on him was real. And I'll take that stat line from Travis Kelce any day. They're going to look to Travis Kelce when they get in the red zone every single time, so I'm not surprised about that. But the fact that you kept him in serious check and took away really Pat Mahomes' number one receiving weapon, great job by Sean Desai.
Here's a couple numbers for you to make you smile this morning. That it's incredible numbers by the Eagles. Nick Sirianni now is 32-12 in his career with the Eagles. He's the highest regular season winning percentage coach in franchise history. He's got to go a lot further, though, to have that number really mean something, but it's 727. It's also the second best figure by an NFL head coach since he was hired, only behind Andy Reid, which is pretty awesome. The Eagles are 26-2 in their last 28 regular season games started by Jalen Hurts, including 15-1 since week 11 of 2022. These numbers are crazy. He's registered a 775 winning percentage, 31-9, which leads all NFL quarterbacks. Now, those numbers got to grow because you're going against some of these veterans, but it's amazing. The one thing is, though, too, the number that just blew me away. Jalen Hurts has won 13 straight games against teams with winning records, breaking a tie with Peyton Manning and Vinny Testaverde. I would never have guessed Vinny Testaverde, but Peyton Manning, he's now broken Peyton Manning's 12-game record. He's now won 13 in a row. Is Jalen Hurts, again, he finds ways to win and style points be damned. And it's guys like me that worry about style points. It's football guys like him that say, the hell with style points, John. It's all about winning. That's all it is.
And, I've gotten this a little bit because I put the numbers out there about them being 25-3 in the last 28 games he started, and somebody came back and me said, Bob, the team's 25-3 in the last 28 games he started. Fair enough, but isn't it the most important position in sports? Are you doing that without Jalen Hurts at quarterback? I understand that this team is loaded and has firepower, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't think you can disregard it
No, you can't.
I mean,
Can we disregard it for Brady? Manning?
No.
Mahomes? No, you can't. You
Yeah.
cannot disregard it.
It is amazing that they just find ways, this year especially, that they're just finding ways to win. Now, I said it, Pat, I think I said it last night. I don't know if we were on air or off air.
If you said it, I wasn't listening.
But I know. I probably said it to Andrew. That I don't want the talking point after this year is over to be, yep, they just never found. They just never clicked on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You know, like you could get to a playoff game and they look like they did last night, but the other team makes that long catch and they wind up losing that game. I hope to God the conversation isn't in January or February like, yeah, they just never found their stride this year.
You got 4 more games to do it. 4, not 7. Because don't give me Giants, Cardinals, Giants and say, wow, the Eagles put up 35 each week and looked awesome against the Giants, Cardinals, Giants. You got 4 games to do it. Bills at home, 49ers at home, Cowboys on the road, Colorado on the road. There it is for me. That's the 4-game litmus test, if you want to use that. I've used it twice in a week. I can't believe it. I don't even know what it is. 4 of this. Don't tell me, wow, but look at Christmas night. They put up 42 on the Giants. I'm not impressed. The Cowboys do that all the time. Other teams do that all the time. You got 4 games to impress me, to get this thing worked out. Because I don't think the last 3 are going to tell me a damn thing about what this team is.
I do look within a lot and maybe to a fault. But no matter the opponent, you need to right yourself. And, yes, you have 4 tough opponents coming up. And, yes, I agree with how you're saying it. They need to grow, especially offensively. They need to grow themselves better throughout the rest of the season. And like a caller said earlier, hopefully playing their best football at the end of the season. Here's another real quick, John, that I wanted to give you. I think 2 of the best receivers the Eagles and 2 of the best offenses the Eagles have faced this year, although Kansas City's offense is down this year, so we know what Patrick Mahomes is. 2 of the best receivers, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce this year, 18 catches for 132 yards for an average of 7.3 a catch. That's amazing. That is amazing. And whether it's a Sean Desai design, I don't know what it is that he has been doing, but to hold those 2 guys to less than 8 yards a catch, I think that's planned. I think it's and I think it's something that the defense did really well.
I think last year's defense was clearly more impactful than this year's. But I will say this. I am a believer that what I'm seeing about adjustments in game by Sean Desai, I see superiority to what I saw last year with Jonathan Gannon. In-game adjustments, I think Desai showed me a lot. Hey, Sean in Levittown joins us. Sean, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
How you doing, guys?
Good, buddy.
Obviously, it was a big win last night for the Birds. I think, honestly, holding the Chiefs to a field goal before halftime, I think that might have been the turnaround for them. I think that was really big to go into the second half and only be down by 10 when they could have easily been down by 2.
You're like kept the door open, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they did. And you just mentioned too, Sean Desai, the in-game adjustments that he made defensively. I can't remember last year when Jonathan Gannon was.
Yeah, but the defense was far more impactful last year.
Oh yeah,
terrorizing quarterbacks. They're not terrorizing quarterbacks this year.
No, they're not. I think last night they did. They can choose when they wanted to go after Mahomes, and I thought they did it at the right time, especially at the end. When Mahomes was moving down the field. But at the same time, Jalen Hurts, he comes up big when it matters.
It's been his DNA. And you said he was your favorite player in college football the year before the Eagles drafted him. That season before, Bob.
Yeah.
And I always liked Jalen and loved watching him, but I loved his leadership because not many guys would be replaced in the national championship game and be so supportive of a teammate. And then the next year, return the favor by coming in the SEC championship game and helping their team win. So he was a total team guy.
Yeah, he's different. Like I said, if the Eagles were a 500 team and Jalen Hurts was what he was or is what he is, I think people would be like, what is up with this dude? But since they're winning, and it's a great thing, right? He's very stoic, doesn't really give you many answers that you're looking for or dives too deep. It's just kind of steady Eddie. Here we go. But if you're going to win 25 out of the last 28 games you started, I don't care whether you talk out of your butt. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
That would
It's all
bother me a
good.
little bit.
Yeah, I guess.
Pat, you always talk about the fortune cookies.
Yeah.
And I laugh because he really does. He sounds like he talks in fortune cookies.
He speaks in fortune cookies and Under Armour and Nike shirts. Like the workout shirts that have like...
He's got a little bit of that.
Yeah, rise and grind. And you're like, all right, whatever. But you're right, Bob. I always go back to the analogy from Bull Durham. You know, you can win 20 games in the show, and people think you're colorful. If you don't, you're a slob. Because you're right. If they weren't winning, it also reminds me of the last quarterback in Carson Wentz. When they were winning, his stupid outfits were it's kitschy. Yeah, it's funny.
Right.
Look, he can't dress. And then all of a sudden they started losing. And this guy is a D-bag because he can't dress. You're harping on every little thing, but ultimately his message, though, it seems like every game is accurate. They haven't reached the level that we thought they were going to reach, but after you go into a hostile environment like KC and you play that good of a team, there's no denying that this current Eagles team is really good. Like, John, you pointed it out. Anybody who's just trying to convince you that, the 49ers are better, or the Lions are better, blah, blah, you're just trying to convince yourself of that because when you beat the Chiefs on the road, I don't care how you did, it's impressive.
And Pat, I'm going to say it because I think I'm one of these people, not to the extreme, but by my nature, I'm one of these people. I'm not comfortable with them being the big dog atop of the mountain.
We're just not used to it.
What I mean. And so I'm learning about that. Is that idea of I'm not used to any of my teams being the, King Kong on top of the Empire State Building swatting down planes.
Well, it didn't end well for him.
It didn't. Well, a woman brought him down. That's what it was.
What are you trying to say?
She brought him down. I mean, it was, maybe that's what happened with Travis last night.
I mean, she was in Rio.
Maybe a little bit of a distraction.
Glad we got that update.
Yeah. No, that was third quarter, though. I give him credit.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
They didn't do a lot
John,
of it.
I thought the same thing. I was like, you know what?
I was proud of them.
I know they have to kind of mention it, but at least they waited, and you could tell they didn't really want to dive too deep into it. So.
Do you know what happened last night with Jalen Hurts? He tied Carson Wentz for all-time quarterback wins as the Eagles quarterback. And they are now.
Really?
Yeah, 35. Hurts has got 35. He's got 35. What strikes you about that? You thought Wentz was more?
I thought Wentz had more, yeah. But you know
35.
what? With the injuries, I guess it does make sense. The first season, they won 7 games.
Right.
He did miss some time, I believe. No, he didn't miss time, but they won 7 games.
He didn't miss any? I thought he did.
No, because the first year he was healthy. And then the second year, they won a lot, but he ended up missing towards the end of the season. Third year, he starts out on injured reserve, came back after, I think, week 3, and it wasn't good. And then season 4, it was mixed. And then this fifth season, he was terrible.
Hurts has passed by. He will pass by the end of this season, Sonny Jurgensen, and be 5th on the all-time wins list. But I give you this question. You know that Hurts and Wentz won 35 games as the Eagles starter. How many did Cunningham and Jaworski win? They're tied. They're tied for second. How many did they win in their career?
10, 80. Would you say Hurts won 35?
Hurts and Wentz are tied at 35.
I'll go 52.
52?
I'll go a little more. I'll go like 75.
70.
Okay.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is already halfway to being eclipsing second place.
All right, let's not look ahead now. We did the same thing with Carson Wentz, and we saw what happened there.
Bob, you think
live in the moment?
This is just a question for Bob, John. So
right.
Shut your mic off. Bob, is he a Hall of Famer?
There you go. 610.
Bobby hates that one.
I just love tweaking him with that.
Dante in the Northeast, put your hand on the Bible, my man, and give us your testimony.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, guys, I spy with my little eye a 9-1 football team, best record, and the best football team. You beat Dallas, you beat Miami, now you beat Kansas City. What else are the haters going to say? Pat, you know what you should do, Pat? Take your pants off, start dancing like you're Jason Biggs in American Pie.
No.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Keep talking.
I love where we are as a team. I love where we're headed as a team. And you guys know I'm very critical of Brian Johnson. I'm going to continue to be very critical. I think situational football, he's not good in. I think that he doesn't know what to do during specific times and plays of a game. If the first script is 15, he's lost. He looks lost to me. Other than that, Sean Desai, you are my man. If you had better personnel, I promise you this will be the best defense in the league. Go Birds. Have a good day, guys.
Good job, Dante.
Thanks,
Have a
Dante.
great Thanksgiving. I love the. I will say I'm surprised. I thought more people, Bob, were going to lean towards the Chiefs blew it, not the Eagles winning it, and people are finding the reasons the Eagles won. And I think Sean Desai's second half adjustments maybe should be the lead story on the news today. Other than thank God that Jalen Hurts checked out of that play and then audibled to the great completion to the 1 yard line with Devontae Smith. I'm sure it was a bubble screen or maybe a running play to Kenny Gainwell, Pat, that he didn't like. And he decided to then call his own play.
I'll give Brian Johnson credit. Only one carry for Kenny Gainwell. Didn't happen in the red zone. Ended up costing me a little bit of money because we were talking on the pregame show about taking Kenny Gainwell's over in the game.
Because of the expectation of the run.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. But that was the one thing that I was pleasantly surprised with. But ultimately, I did like the fact that they continued to go to DeAndre Swift, albeit, that one screen pass to Kenny Gainwell I did not understand at all.
He was their best player on the field. DeAndre Swift
He was their
last
best
night.
player last night. Well, Byard could make an argument too. Even though he got blown up on the first touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing there. He was completely lost, standing on a goal line,
He
covering
made
a
up
blade
for
of
it,
grass
though.
or something.
That's a tough play to make, though.
It is. Anytime you have guys running across the field,
those rub routes are just tough. And then it's like, I don't know what was going on. Well, that's the reason that every team runs it.
On his one, it was the first touchdown. The guy in the back of the end zone that was wide open.
Wide.
He didn't
never mind.
fade off
that was
on
bad.
him. You're playing a zone. Or do you have man principles? I don't know. It's different things. There's different ways of looking at it. But I just thought it was crazy. DeAndre Swift's your best player on the field, and then they kind of got away from. He only carried the ball 4 times in the second half.
That's what they do. That's what Brian
Now,
Johnson
he had 3
does
receptions.
every time.
I don't know.
This is what he
It's kind
does.
of mind-boggling.
And I don't understand
They won the
it.
football game.
I don't understand it. They did. Nick Sirianni, after the game, he had some more things to say. And one of the things he said was something that everybody was thinking. Gosh, that wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty. There was a lot of ugly moments in it, but they just kept fighting and kept staying together. It was just a good team win where everyone just stayed together, right? The defense just kept making plays, waiting for the offense to make a play, and we did in some critical times. Devontae and AJ had a huge play that Jalen actually checked to. It was a heck of a check. Jalen just sees some great things out there, and he did a phenomenal job.
That was the check. And it's one of the things where if you were going to give Brian Johnson credit for something, you can't, because Jalen Hurts called the biggest play of the game. He called the play that won the game, and that's pretty awesome. So I mean, it's exciting stuff. Brian, let's see what. Let me go here. I'm sorry, Jordan in Phoenixville. Jordan, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. How are you? Hey, I want to say big good morning to the 3-time champ, John. How are you?
Thank you, buddy.
Pat and Bobby, great show last night at Trap. I was there. You guys are amazing.
Oh, thanks, Jordan.
Thank you. You're welcome, man. This team's got a big bag of stones for winning that game. I'll say that. It was not pretty. The first half, they were the most hated football team in my eyes, and they switched it around. And it was good to see because here in Philly we're used to bad things happening. They normally don't win that game, so to see them come out and make those adjustments and to put some pressure on Mahomes and actually get to him versus the Super Bowl was really good to see.
They only got to him though the second play of the game. If you're talking about sacking him, which again I look at as one of the disappointments of the night because I heard that it was the field at the Super Bowl. I think it was the Chiefs' offensive line has a big part to do with it.
Yeah, I mean they're good, but I felt for the most part though they made a move. They got him off his spot, which was good. And I'll take the uncharacteristic misses that he had. But I mean that was just it was great to leave that game feeling great versus how it started.
9-1 sounds great.
I thought it was one of the things I noticed about Patrick Mahomes in the pocket last night. Players kind of have trepidation or hesitation going after him because they're anticipating that next move. it's not like, all right, there he is, I'm just going to go get him because you think he's going somewhere else. And there wasn't a better example, I didn't think. I don't know if you guys remember the play. They blitzed Blankenship. Okay, he came up from Mahomes' left side. Mahomes had a beauty of a pass and hit Watson like 20 yards downfield on the sideline. It was his best pass of the night probably. But Blankenship appeared to have him, and it looked like, all right, he's got him. And at the last minute, he kind of took a sidestep, Blankenship did, because I think he thought Mahomes was going to move. And it was like that little half second of hesitation that cost him getting either a hand on the ball or getting a full-fledged sack. But it's amazing how Mahomes just keeps defenders on their toes when he's avoiding them in the pocket. And it creates time for him because defenders are actually hesitating to where they're going because they're not sure he's still going to be there.
The O-line was an issue last night, and Nick Sirianni addressed it after the game.
There were some miscommunication things that we had that we knew we had to get better at. We were behind the sticks. It was some things that we had to do as coaches to help out putting the guys in positions to make plays. But nobody sets the table and gets everybody on the same page better than Jason Kelsey. Nobody I've ever been around. They created some confusion. That's what, Spags does a great job of that. So it was just, looking at some of the things, getting everybody on the same page. And Jason and Jalen did a good job of getting everybody on that, everyone together and having a good second half.
Getting everybody on the same page, it seems like it's a disorganized offense. It's game 10. It's not game 1. It's not training camp. It's game 10. And they're talking about veteran players getting on the same page. That's confusing to me.
Yeah, there were some instances last night with the offensive line where, it looked like you should shuffle off of one guy, give him to somebody else, and come back in. But Kansas City was just playing too fast, and they couldn't catch up. And that's odd for an Eagles team because usually they're on top of that. One time Lane Johnson let his guy go because of screen, and Kenny Gainwell, I don't know what he was looking for. Like, he was nowhere to be found for the screen pass. Gainwell, as much as this coaching staff likes to prop him up, I don't know.
You don't understand it.
I'm wondering if that. No, let me put it this way. I'm wondering if they're starting to have a little doubt about him, being the fact he only ran the ball one time last night and really was kind of replaced by Boston Scott more often than not.
We got a lot of people on the line that want to get in. Did the Eagles lose, or did the Eagles win, or did the Chiefs lose? Was one of the questions Bob threw out earlier. I got another question for you though, as we look at this that we'll get into in the course of the morning here. To me, I look at it as the number's so easy for the Eagles right now. I want these next 4 games to really be the measuring stick. We'll get to it coming up. Thanks for hanging out with us. The Eagles are 9-1, and you're feeling great. It's going to be a great Thanksgiving day. Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. Now, with Thanksgiving coming, that
The John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Philadelphia.
I had a listener, DJ, big listener to the show, offers me $1,000 if I'll dress like James Harden tonight to ring the bell. Remember the James Harden costume that he wore? Looked like something out of like the Cat in the Hat. Or one of those, like when he came and rang the bell. Yeah, very interesting look for James. No, I'm not going to dress like that tonight, but I appreciate it. We have the Eagles at 9-1, which just honestly changes everything for everybody, because that's the bottom line. It is. I mean, that's all that matters is that they're 9-1, and the breathing room that I believe they now have is pretty amazing. But Pat wants to brag on Howie Roseman, and I love that because Howie's a guy who has taken a ton of bullets in this town, but last night his fingerprints were all over that victory.
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
Hey guys, it's me.
Hi, Pat.
Pat. I'm going to ask you guys the two players that you think of when you look at why the Eagles won. Eagles only. Give me one offense, one defense.
Swift, Byard.
Bobby, you got any different names or?
I'll go Swift. Byard. Byard's a good one. Okay, I'll go Swift and Byard.
Devontae could be right there too.
I think Swift and Byard are like the obvious ones.
Yes.
They're the most obvious. Swift and Byard were two acquisitions that Howie's made in the last 12 months that, I mean, they're the reason you went into Kansas City and won. And DeAndre Swift was, I mean, you're right. Like Devontae Smith had a really good game, but DeAndre Swift looked like, I mean, just every time he touched the ball, he's popping off big runs. Kevin Byard keeping Travis Kelce in check. Thank God we have a GM that doesn't just rest on his laurels and sit back and, draft day comes and he's not valuing a 5th round pick like every other team does. And he goes, no, we can get something really valuable for a 5th round pick. We can get a starting running back. Yeah, well, all right, we'll do that.
On the last year of his contract.
Yeah, thank God he doesn't sit back and and go, oh no, Terrell Edmonds, he's good enough. No, it's like, yeah, I can get a former All-Pro in here for 5th round pick, 6th round pick, whatever it was. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Because it seems like too often the teams will overvalue these late round picks. And for Howie Roseman to sit there and go, no, this is ridiculous. Let me get the proven commodity in here that can help us win instead of going, what we have is good enough. He's a guy that seems to always be looking to improve. He could have went into this season and said Kenny Gainwell's number 1 running back. And damn it, if the coaching staff didn't try to do that week 1, that's for sure. But Howie didn't. And he went out there and made the move for DeAndre Swift, and it's paid off big time. I don't know if DeAndre Swift will be back next season, but he's certainly earning a contract somewhere. And then Kevin Byard, you saw the impact of him last night, and it goes back to, I think, something we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Did they make this move looking at possibly a precursor to a February matchup with Travis Kelce and keeping him in check? So
why not?
Kudos to Howie. I was 2 years ago. I wanted you out. I got to look inside. I got to look inward. That's on me.
And
we all make mistakes.
And you were not anti, but you were not thrilled with the acquisition of Swift.
No, I thought he was a nice change of pace back.
You didn't see him as a number 1
back.
Right.
I thought he was a nice change of pace back. He's proven to be that. I don't know.
We don't know if he's a number 1 back, though, honestly. I mean, we know that he's a number 1
back on this team. Yeah, he's number 1 back on this team.
But could you count on him for 25 carries a game?
But,
nobody does that anymore.
And the offense do that either.
Right.
Because you have 5, because 5 of those are and then they'll mix in the occasional well here and there, which whatever. Sometimes he plays well, but yeah, kudos to Howie, because there's a lot of teams out there that 3rd day of the draft comes and they're overvaluing some of these draft picks to take guys that they're going to cut in a couple months, and the trade deadline comes and they go, no, we're good there. No, we can't trade for this guy. No, we're all right. And Howie positions himself not only draft-wise, but cap-wise, to have the assets to go get some of these guys in the cap space to make it happen as well. So his fingerprints, I felt like, were all over last night's win.
You mean the 9-1 win?
Yeah.
You mentioned something there a little bit, and we've been on Brian Johnson a little bit today, and a lot of the listeners have also. who the hell's idea was it that after watching the team in preseason, in workouts, in exhibitions, whatever, that you were Kenny Gainwell was the number one back, and you went into the first game thinking Kenny Gainwell was the number one back? I mean, that's
mismanagement.
That's like something that's been underplayed. But man, what in the holy heck was going on there?
Swift got one touch in the opening game.
Yeah,
Made no sense.
That's so
Especially,
stupid.
And we heard
especially.
it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think we're going to say the same thing. Go ahead.
We heard it all through training camp. No, Gainwell's number one. Gainwell's number one. Gainwell's the best back here. Okay, and they're lining Swift up out as a wide receiver. Like, did you waste all that time?
Yes.
Not knowing who your number one running back is, and how did you not? Or is it a case where Swift, when the game lights come on, he's that much better? I don't know.
But how is he that much better? I would think it's the other guy. I would think when the game lights come on, in practice, maybe Kenny Gainwell's flashing, but all the beat writers said that it was pretty clear in practice who the number one guy was. So it's not even like this is a practice versus game guy taking. No, it's like practice guy was better. Games, guy's better. For whatever reason, coaching staff has an I can't quit you mentality.
And that's a big deal, and we should be proud of the 9-1 Eagles, but we should also question some of the decision making. And it seems like it all goes around Brian Johnson. So Jalen Hurts talked about after the game. He talked about the win, and honestly, the win being after the Super Bowl loss.
Obviously, when you play a team and you lose, that is what it is. But there's always a competitiveness there versus everyone we play. And so I'm just happy we found a way to come and win in this environment versus a really good team.
No revenge at all for what happened in the Super Bowl?
No.
No such thing as revenge. It didn't do anything. We did a parade today because you won. It was a great win, though. That's a great win. And it's something you can hopefully build off of. Can you get some momentum? The Buffalo Bills are not a good football team. Period. They're not. Can you build off of it? Can you take this win at Kansas City and come home and finally put it all together? I'll wonder. I'll wonder till I see it. Let's put it that way. When I see it, I'll feel like I can believe it.
Buffalo hasn't played very good football. Do they have the potential to be a good football team? Perhaps. Could they come in here and play a really good football game and play the type of game as the team that we expected them to be before the season started?
I don't believe they can.
Maybe not. Maybe they could. You can't have a letdown in this game. You have to treat this Buffalo Bills team like the team you expected them to be before the season started.
Oh, you're absolutely correct.
And that's a Super Bowl contender. So, no letdown. Can't have a letdown. I'm sure it's Nick Sirianni's first message to the team when they gather again. Great win, but you have a really tough team coming in here on Sunday, and you have to take care of business.
Let's see. Our man Stan usually talks Sixers with us, but he wants to talk Eagles this morning. Stan, good morning. You're on The Fanatic. How are you?
Hey, good morning, John, and congratulations to you, man. Seriously,
thank you, buddy.
With you and everything. So I'm happy that you're good right now.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm a Sixers guy, but football is my love as well. So I gotta show love where love is deserved, and Sean Desai has earned that. I look at it and people are saying that the Eagles. You posed the question: did the Eagles win or did the Chiefs lose? Missed opportunities is part of the game. What Valdez did as far as not catching that ball, you tune in week after week, and win or lose, there's always throws where the quarterback, or the receiver wants that back, right? So I can't put you got Roby punching out Kelsey. Kelsey doesn't fumble, so that you have something like that where he punches the ball, he fumbles, and then comes in with an interception. This to me is more so of they had a good game plan. I didn't know what to do. I was like, do you let Kelsey go crazy and you just shut everybody else down? And the Eagles did the opposite. They said, no, we dare one of these. And then this is within their Andy Reid tree as far as, like, you look at it. I remember names like James Trash and Freddie Mitchell and Chad Lewis, Todd Pinkston, all these different guys that we've had as far as Donovan Mitchell not having real weapons to throw to. But that's Patrick Mahomes is starting to see that right now.
He is. I mean, and a lot of this has been dictated, Stan, I got to run. It's been dictated by salary cap issues. And that's one of the things that we have, and Pat was bragging on Howie Roseman earlier. the Chiefs with salary cap issues. That's why they're going bargain basement. They're dollar store hopping for offensive weapons for Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know what their cap situation is. Is that what it is?
They claimed this year was going to be a bump in the road, and maybe next year too, and then they get some freedom. But it's Howie just creates that just mobility. It's not a good word. Flexibility.
Yeah. Well, and a big part of that too is the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, willing to cut bonus checks
right off the
bat and take money off the top so that the cap situation is what it is really the unsung hero of this thing. Because, I'm sure a lot of teams would like to do what the Eagles are doing. It's not necessarily rocket science. I mean, when you have a situation of Jalen Hurts signs a contract extension and on the surface you go, oh, it's the highest paid contract, $250 million. And then you look at the cap hit, you're like, how is that possible? Well, it's Jeffrey Lurie seeing the 4 and going, I'll pay the money now, knowing with the cap.
I don't know how Lamar Hunt Jr., how they don't have the money.
Well, I mean,
they win Super Bowls. You have to have the cash to be able to pay some of these things and bonuses and everything.
Well, some of them aren't willing to do it. Like Mark Davis, listening to Mike Mayock, who joined Chris Long on his podcast and about his time in Oakland and then Las Vegas.
Right.
Mark Davis, it's just a philosophy. They don't pay bonuses, so it's like it's got to be all in the sign, just in season
that's
thing.
Weird to me.
And they don't do it, and that's why their cap situation is what it is. I mean, when you look at the Chiefs, $37 million for Patrick Mahomes this year in terms of cap, $57 million next year, $60 million the year after. Well,
that's
compare
crazy.
that to Jalen Hurts, who just signed a contract. It's night and day, and that's why you've got Patrick Mahomes who gets to throw the ball to Martise Valdez-Scantling, who, I mean, even Nelson Aguilar was like.
All right, Cheesy joins us.
Is that what he was like?
Hey, it ain't easy being Cheesy.
Maybe.
From our YouTube crew and on the jury. Cheesy, what's up, buddy?
It ain't easy being cheesy. First,
It ain't.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. John, congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
So I want to go back to Bob's question earlier about plays that define the game or define the Eagles or define the season. Jalen Carter almost intercepting a spike was ridiculous.
That was unbelievable.
I'm like, who does that? And that shows how fast he got in there to make that play. And the other play that stood out to me was, even though it was called down by contact, A.J. Brown not giving up on the play and just running the ball away from Snead. If that would have stood as a fumble, that could have flipped the game on his head.
I still don't understand, but the shin, now that's something too, is the shin touching him, I didn't realize counted.
Well, so if any part of your body touches a guy when he's down, it's play dead.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they didn't give up on the play, and first half, play calling, I still don't understand what the play calling was in the first half. Like, these design quarterback runs, these wide receiver screens that Brian Johnson is in love with for some reason, it does not work. It's just ugly, and it just makes you just go, oh my gosh, I can't believe what we're actually watching. But the fact that they're winning these close and ugly games, I'd rather them win these type of games than blow everybody out. And then late in the season, you wonder, can they compete in these close games?
John, let me ask you, be honest.
Yep.
9-1 last year, 9-1 this year. You're more pleased with 9-1 this year?
I'm better because they're playing in closer games, and if like a postseason game comes down to being close, I feel better because they find ways to win. You know? Of course, everybody wants the beautiful 10, 20, 30-point wins, but if you can win ugly, you can basically win any game.
I got to tell you, I don't feel the same, though. I appreciate it. I don't feel the same about, like, 9-1 last year I felt was just a thing of beauty. And it was something that, like, my jaw dropped. Game after game after game.
That's because it just wasn't expected. But it was also the way they were doing it.
That's the way they were doing it. It was the style points. And again, I worry too much about style points. And I raise my hand and say that's important. But this 9-1 doesn't feel nearly as complete. I haven't seen a complete game yet.
Well,
we're 10 games in.
They've told you haven't seen a complete game yet either.
Right.
I agree with you.
And to me, you got 4 games left to show me. Christmas night against the Giants is not going to be like, wow, look, they put up 46. Man, the Eagles are back. We've been waiting for that complete game. No.
Putting it on Tommy DeVito.
I need to see it against good teams.
Real quick, I looked up the cap situation.
Yeah.
All right, so Patrick Mahomes this year, $37 million cap hit. What's Jalen Hurts?
37 million. 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 37 million.
This is a fun.
21?
6.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say 5.
incredible.
All right,
Yeah.
next year, 57.3 for Mahomes. What's Hurts?
20.
13.5.
Oh, my gosh.
The
That's
third
crazy.
year, 60.8. What's Hurts?
20.
21.7.
Okay, put that at Pat. Put that in a.
Oh, we're having fun.
Put that in a tweet because that'll drive. That's why Kansas City is doing. That's why they're shopping at Big Lots.
They would have won had they kept Tyreek Hill, but they couldn't keep Tyreek Hill because their cap situation is what it is.
Hey, Brian checks in from our jury. Brian Weiler, how are you, Brian? Let's get after it.
I'm doing good, thanks. I got a great text from my brother last night after the game. He said, and this is quoting Mick from Rocky, obviously, but women weaken legs, and that goes to Kelsey. He had his worst game against us last night. Thank goodness. I really can't figure our team out, but the one thing I do know is they just find ways to win. I mean, I had that thing chalked up as an L all night long, the way it was looking, and they figure it out. And then the toughest player of the game for me, Devontae Smith. That guy,
he's unbelievable.
If you remember last year, he was mic'd up during the Jacksonville game when it was nasty and rainy at the Link, and he did not like playing in that weather. And so I was worried about him last night when I saw the weather, and he couldn't have been more big time last night. Player of the game for me.
I loved it. Thank you, buddy, and happy Thanksgiving. Devontae Smith is just he only has 48 receptions so far.
Yeah.
But 632 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's good. And they'll get him his 1,000 yards. That'll all come together. But I said it yesterday. It's one of the reasons I wore Devontae's jersey yesterday. I really thought he was going to be the game because I know with Spags and with Andy Reid, they try to take away what you want to do the most. And they took away A.J. Brown a lot of the night.
They did. They did a hell of a job.
Blanketed him.
Yeah.
Bracketed him.
Yeah. I mean, one catch for 8 yards, that doesn't seem like it's going to get it done. Like Aikman said one time, I think they ran an out to Devontae Smith, and he caught it and drug his feet going off to the right sideline. And Aikman was just kind of laughing. He goes, you could take one away, but you still have Devontae Smith over there. Like, it's equivalent to saying Devontae Smith's your number 1 receiver. Your number 2 guy didn't really come through, but he only had 1 catch. Oh, it just so happens your number 2 also has like 1,500 yards already in receiving. They're just... It's dynamic, and it makes you scratch your head at the same time with, well, why isn't this working? You know, why? And last night I just blow it up to the offensive line didn't play well. Their defensive line did. You could have called up so many things. You had to dial up exactly right because they were that dominant. The jet sweep that they ran, the one time to Swift where I think he went for like 30, 35 yards. Why didn't we ever see that again? If you're so enamored with the bubble screen and all that, and you tried that 3 or 4 times, why not try a play that worked for 35 yards? Do you remember the play? They had Boston Scott in the backfield. They had
and he cuts it.
They had Swift out wide. So as Smith was coming in motion, or Swift, I'm sorry, as Swift was coming in motion, it was Hurts handoff, boom. He turns it upfield and goes for 35 yards. Never saw it again. There's a lot of questions about that offensive play calling for sure.
Well, Jalen Hurts explained it after the game. He said because of the fact that this team is still building. I don't understand that answer, but here's what Jalen said.
I think we're still building. I think we're still learning. We got a ton to improve on. We're truly taking it 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 rep at a time in practice. But there's a ton of opportunity out there for us. We just have to continue to have the growth mindset we have and just continue to get better.
Yeah, you're kind of right, John. Like, all right, when's it coming?
When is it coming?
Hurry it up. Let's go, boys.
There's 4 meaningful games left in the regular season.
Yeah, and I
show me.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they start playing their best football of the season coming up. We know the ebbs and flows of what a season is. We've talked about it endlessly. Maybe they will. Maybe their best games are coming up. Maybe on Sunday at the Link against Buffalo is when you're like, oh, wow, there it is.
It all came together.
But we've been waiting for a while.
Let's see what Graf has to say in media. He's always very even-keeled. Graf, how'd you feel? Last night you invented 3 curse words, I bet.
No, John. John, the Philadelphia Eagles are like you, man. They're just survivors. You know?
Thank you, bud.
They're like a team of water bears. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a water bear, but it's a little microscopic organism. It can live anywhere in the known existence. It can live in the vacuum of space. It can live in the mouth of volcanoes.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
Die.
Okay.
They just don't die. And the birds, for some reason, John, they don't want to die. They just go out and they They just live off of talent. I've never seen anything like this before. They don't even play well, but they still win because they're so talented. Jalen Hurts had like one good throw last night, and it was a 45-yard bomb to Devontae Smith, who catches it on his fingertips while absolutely blanketed in coverage. Like, they are so talented, and we all sit here and we're like, oh, well, when are they really going to show up? When are they really going to show up? Well, damn, they aren't showing up in one, and they're simply just talented.
I love that energy. I love that energy. Happy Thanksgiving, Graf. Love that.
Yeah.
He's bouncing off the walls. But he makes a good point.
He's accurate in his statement.
I sat there watching the game last night, wishing I could have been with so many people watching the game last night. I would have loved to have seen Graf's reaction. I would have loved to have seen Pat or Olivia. Or I love observing the way people watch games and their different reaction. And last night probably elicited more reaction out of an Eagles fan base than a game in a long time. Because, yeah, joy is joy and winning and all. But that was a high and low game last year. Yeah, the lows of a fan feeling last night and then to the highs, that's incredible for people that showed the emotion the way they do.
I said to myself, my daughter has Philly DNA, but she wasn't raised here. Last night, she was relentless with the negativity on every single thing about the Eagles during the course of that game. Can't believe they're playing like this. Biggest game of the year. How can they be doing this on this stage? And I'm like, honey, it is. And when it was 17-14, I said to her, do you want me to tell you what's going to happen? And she said, no. What? And I said, yeah. I said, the Eagles are going to take the lead. Patrick Mahomes is going to have the ball, and he's going to go down, and we're going to be on the edge of our seats screaming. And when they took the lead, she goes, how did you know that was going to happen? I said, it just felt that way. But I also felt the game was absolutely, with 3 minutes to go, I was not, okay, this Eagles defense has got this. They've got this covered. I didn't have that confidence. I didn't think they were necessarily lose, but I thought it was going to come later, last 20 seconds, the edge of our seats. Is Mahomes going to complete a touchdown pass? I did not think we were going to see a defensive stance like that. And that punt was absolutely freaking amazing. Amazing at the end. And the punt coverage, amazing. That set the Chiefs back so deep in their zone. And I would say this, if you had that punter and that punt coverage last year, you win the Super Bowl. You win the Super Bowl. That punt was, it goes back. That punt was a major part of last year's game at 35-35. And wow, it was crazy last night. You want to get in with us, 610-632-0975. We've been asking you all day, did the Eagles win or did the Chiefs lose? I don't even think we need to say that anymore because it's been overwhelming that people are very optimistic that the Eagles won. And I think that's great. And they're 9-1. And I'll do a little bit of math with you. You're going to feel great afterwards. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I would tell you the BetParks app is a great way to entertain yourself. And you know Thanksgiving, you have football.
talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, and the 9 a.m. hour, which is coming soon, is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours at Home Depot and Lowe's, and for details, go to Bagster.com. Do number 2, Pat, if you would. The Jalen Hurts talking with Lisa Salters after the game. Lisa Salters, Upper Marion's own Lisa Salters, after the game.
We didn't get first down. We were horrible. We didn't play good offensively. Our defense definitely had us strong in that game, and they did a great job of playing ball. Keep going, bro. You know, in this league, man, you get to this time of the year, you just want to find ways to win, and that's the only thing that matters.
That's the most energy I've ever heard out of Jalen Hurts.
I'm right there with you. Most times he's a robot.
Yes. So because he calmed down by later sound bites, and he bragged in number 5, Pat. He did brag about the fact that everything that they've done in the 10 games is going to potentially pay dividends. Listen.
We've been competing hard all year. We've had very challenging games all year, and we've been battle tested in a number of different situations and types of games. And so in this league, it's just all about finding a way to win. Whether it's ugly in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, how are you going to find a way in the end? And that's one thing about this team tonight. We had resilience. We persevered. Regardless of what happened early on, we found a way to win in the end, and that's what matters.
Okay, Anthony wants to know in a DM, Bob.
What's up, man?
Nothing. You don't believe that because he's going back to where you told me that don't bring up where Jalen Hurts is because we thought we had it in Carson Wentz. He said, Bob well. He goes, there's no way Bob thinks Jalen is anything like Carson Wentz, right? I mean, that's not what you were saying. You were saying about just you never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen. My God, if we go back to to Carson Wentz, it was the quarterback. He's going to be the best quarterback of all time for this team and this organization and all that. You just never know. No, I only
that wasn't
said
what
it,
you were referencing.
I only said it because that was the same talk that we had back then,
and I was
just kind of kidding around.
I was the leader of that bandwagon, by the way. I absolutely believed. I thought Carson Wentz was going to be.
Oh, everybody up here did. I mean, we were on the air, and it was just, oh my God, this is it. The Eagles finally have their franchise quarterback again, and this could be the best quarterback that they ever had, and the confidence level was through the roof, and then it wasn't.
Since last season, the Eagles have played 9 primetime games. They're 8-1. And they're 2-0 on Monday Night Football this season. And they have been dominating the AFC. They've won 10 of their last 11 regular season games versus AFC teams. That's pretty amazing. 10 of 11. That's a really good run. You got one this weekend coming up against the Bills. And you're not going to be here for the rest of the week. So, gut instinct. And it's hard to say because we've seen 10 games and we don't really know what we're going to see. Your gut instinct on facing the Bills, because, Bob, you're not going to be around. So what is it? You'll be enjoying your family.
I'll be back. I'll be back for pregame on Sunday. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't have it yet. In all honesty, John, I'm not going to make something up. No. Last night just ended. We like everybody out there.
It just did, didn't it?
God bless you all because, we come in here and say, we didn't have any sleep, and none of us did. You guys listening didn't. We didn't. I stayed up and watched post game. So, you get 3 hours of sleep. You come back in here and you do it again. I haven't turned that page even a little bit to the Bills yet. Probably will after I watch the Eagles game today. And then, when I'm away for vacation, or for Thanksgiving rather, I'll be maybe calling back home to some of my family that's staying home. So my house isn't going to be empty. My son will be home with our pit bull because he has to babysit.
Got to babysit.
So, yeah. I don't have one yet. I kind of want to have one before I leave because I'm not going to get a whole lot of Buffalo Bills talk down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm not imagining.
I wouldn't imagine.
No, so nothing yet. Still laughing and glowing in last night's win. That's where I am, yeah.
I can understand that. I will just tell you this. I did a little Bills 15-minute football yesterday watching some of the Bills. They're not a good football team. They're not a good football team. They're not well coached. They are not executing well, and you should be ready for the turnovers this weekend coming your way. Alex says last night was like PTSD a little bit. Alex, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. Alex. What is this?
I think we're listening to maybe the news
or Fox. I don't know.
No,
What
she's
Alex
talking
has
about
going?
Thanksgiving
we
dinner.
Can, we can probably continue to figure it out.
Okay, let's listen.
Let's break this down.
Let's listen.
Figure out what we got to do.
No, you know what? I think he's on a Zoom call.
Oh,
I
Wait
think
a
he
minute.
was on a Zoom call.
Wait a
I think he was on a business call.
He's on a Zoom call, and he's calling us on the phone.
Well, I mean, look, I don't personally do this, but I do know that some people in the corporate world will have Zoom meetings that they view are a little pointless. So what they'll do is they'll sign on, and then they'll go about living their life.
Okay.
And maybe he was one of those people that said, you know what, I don't really need to be here and talking about TPS reports after the Birds went 9-1.
Well, I like your theory. Now, Bob, there is one thing, though, since you're going to be away until pregame on Sunday at Live Casino.
Yeah.
You have a pair of tickets to give away.
I do, John. And we're going to give them away right now to the, what number is this on Reddick, Pat? 7. The seventh caller, 215-263-0975. You will get 2 passes to the best tailgate there is. That's right, Philly Sports Trip.
Unbelievable.
We have so much fun, Vandal. We appreciate you. Come on in. You got free food, the best food around, free booze, anything you want to drink. They start, let's see, the game's at what, 4:30? So we'll start around 12:30, the tailgate. It's awesome. Go to phillysportstrips.com to check it out. But, yes, seventh caller, 215-263-0975. I'm giving you 2 passes.
Get to hang with Bob.
And Pat.
You.
And Andrew
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll
Salchunas.
be there, but I think Bob's the real draw.
No, I think Andrew is.
Really?
Or
No, it's definitely not Andrew.
I think there's
It's either me
different.
or you.
The
It's not Andrew.
The Lithuanian community always comes out strong for Andrew Salchunas.
Good point. Very good point.
You know, one of their leaders. So
Yes.
they look at him as one of the leaders. I mean, you don't see that every day where such a prominent man gets to be, in that opportunity in the media.
Yeah,
So
a lot
it's
of
great.
personalized Valanciunas jerseys that you'll see at the tailgates.
By the way, last night on the news, 9 o'clock hour, by the way, is brought to you by the Bagster, the dumpster in a bag. Go to Home Depot and Lowe's, get it for yourself. Last night on the news, Channel 6 came and did a story on your buddy Joe. Pat was part of it.
Really?
And the neighborhood, because 9 kids in a 2-block area were born within a year, and they're all boys. And they came out, 9 kids are born in a 2-block area of our neighborhood. And Channel 6 came out and sat with all
This
the
guy
mothers.
Joe fathered them all?
Joe is one. No, Joe has one of the child was Joe's.
Oh, I thought you said Joe was in the news for having 9 kids in the span of a year.
There's got to be more to the story. That's the slowest news day in the world.
His lovely wife was in the piece. Joe was not. She's much prettier. And so Channel 6 came out and did a story and had the 9 mothers with their kids, and in a 1-year period in the same neighborhood, in like a 2-block radius, 9 babies born, all boys.
Nice.
That's wild. Now, you say, is there something in the water?
I can't wait I would love to drive through that neighborhood about 7 years from now.
Put up a hoop.
Watching all those kids running around playing. I love that.
Let's get jury duty going in the 9 o'clock hour with this man. Always well-mannered, always low-key. Mike from Delran. Mike.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Nobody got a lot of sleep last night. I'll tell you who had a lot of sleep and was sleeping all night was Brian Johnson. I'm not going to say anything that hasn't already been said, but I'm giving game balls to everybody on that team but him. I cannot remember a game where I only have one beef with one person. Those 2 wide receiver screens, I was screaming at my house at like 10:30 at night. Like, I just don't get it. Listen, and I'm going to be honest with you. I heard a lot of Eagles players talk after that game. They all had pretty much the same message. The offense sucked. The defense was awesome.
Jalen referenced it, Mike, 5 times after the game about the offensive plan.
Yeah,
in the game.
And I don't know about anybody else, but if we start hearing that a little bit more and more, I'm going to start questioning whether these players are going to start really buying into this offensive coordinator or not. Because that's a huge problem to have when you got Super Bowl expectations, right? 9-1's great. A win is great. But the Eagles didn't win that game. The Chiefs lost it. And we're lucky to get out of that one alive. Go Birds!
All right, buddy. I said it before the season, and I'll say it again. I think you have a Super Bowl team that lost on a field goal with 30 seconds left, 20 seconds left. To me, the idea that you went with two rookie coordinators, even though Desai had 1 year of experience, I think was a little arrogant. And I could see one, not two. I would have gone with one veteran myself, and I absolutely would have gone with a veteran with the offensive game plan because, wow, he has the best toy chest in the NFL, and I don't think Brian Johnson is using it well enough.
It doesn't appear, and like there's a inkling of talk if you read into things that, well, they're not showing everything yet, or well, they're taking it easy on DeAndre Swift so that he's ready to go at the end of the year. He's not used to this big workload. All of those things. Okay, you got to watch out for that. We all know pro sports. It's not as easy as, okay, here we go.
We flip a
that
switch.
Rarely happens. So maybe this is the offense that we have to get used to. Maybe there's some changes that are coming. Who knows? But that I agree with Mike. That wide screen. I mean, it wasn't just that plays weren't working. The plays looked bad. I mean, your screens looked bad. DeAndre, they got lucky that Devontae Smith, when he got hit on the one, that the ball popped up in the air, that the Chiefs guy didn't grab it and waltz in for a touchdown. It just, design was bad, timing was bad, calls were bad. It's just, a lot of it didn't look good.
Rashid was not happy with something last night. He joins us on the Fanatic. Good morning, Rashid.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, buddy.
How frustrated from a scale from 1 to 10 were you guys watching Mahomes be so elusive?
I'd say like 7.5, 8.
Oh, my gosh. So we started the game out right. Reddick gets to him, and I said, okay, this is going to be different. The offensive line isn't as good as it was last year, even though it wasn't good last year. I said, okay, this is going to be different. Then after that, he just sneaks away. He slivers away every single time. Completes a pass, rushes for the first down. It was so frustrating.
How about the dancing on the sidelines by other players, not only Mahomes, on plays where they were getting 5 and 6 extra yards because they weren't taking them out when they had the opportunity to do so?
Not even just Mahomes. The Chiefs, when I'm watching the game, I said, yeah, this looks like a rematch. This looks like we'll be playing them again in the Super Bowl.
You think so?
I mean, who else?
Well, I mean, we're going to look at that right now. Appreciate that. You set me right up for it because I wanted to run it by the guys. And here, look, we're 10 games in. For every team in the NFL, some have played 11. So I think it's fair to look at it and go, there's a good enough sample size. The Ravens are now the number 1 seed in the AFC with an 8-3 mark. Kansas City's 2. Jacksonville is 3 because the Chiefs beat them head-to-head. And Miami is 4. Any one of those teams, like the team that would bother you the most if you said, we're heading to Vegas and they're playing this team of those 4, is it the Chiefs?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Is it because of Mahomes?
Good. Oh, God, yeah. Baltimore's good, but that Mark Andrews injury, that's big for them. I mean,
might be as bad, though.
Yeah, might not.
Might not.
Yeah, they have a tough defense there. Mahomes is still the best player in the league. So, yeah, that would concern you a little bit. But a lot of their receivers last night.
Ooh.
Yeah, that doesn't scare. And the fact they haven't scored a touchdown in 3 straight games in the second half, that doesn't scare
But
you.
do you think anything that we saw last night has anything to do with, like if it was on a neutral site, it would be not as effective or something? I mean, like, 'cause I didn't think home field really played in that much last night.
No, you get that momentum in home field right from the get-go with the fans behind you and all that. And but the Eagles totally took that away. They had a 17-7 lead at halftime, and the Eagles took that momentum away in the second half, even after having a putrid first possession in the third quarter. So I don't know how much that came into play. I really came out of last night thinking this. There really is only one team that can beat the Eagles.
The Eagles.
I really do. I really think that. They're the only team. And I hope to God, I'll say it again, that it doesn't come January, February, and we say they just didn't click on all cylinders. They were good enough, but they just never really got to that point.
You mean Phillies-esque? That
I don't think
at some point it comes back. At some point, your weaknesses come back to haunt you.
Yeah, I don't. The Eagles, I think we labeled as the best team in the NFC. Obviously that hasn't changed, but yeah, I don't want it to become the Phillies. No, I thought other teams could beat the Phillies and all that. I really don't think another team can beat the Eagles except the Eagles.
Pat, you agree with that? That's bold, Bob. I like it.
It is, yeah.
But it's bold.
I think there probably is one or two teams that could probably beat the Eagles, but
I say San Fran.
But it goes back to like how does the game play? Like it's a good point, Bob. Now I'm flip flopping because I can envision them losing, but it probably, to your point, it probably would be self inflicted mistakes. Like, do I see Brock Purdy coming in here and getting into a shootout and winning? No. But do I see, Jalen Hurts and the defense of the 49ers forcing some turnovers and the 49ers capitalizing it? Yeah, I can see it. Ultimately, though, it just seems like, the Eagles tried in a way to kind of shoot themselves in the foot last night, and it just didn't matter. They played about as bad as you can in a win, and they still won.
When I watched them, my eye test says one thing, and my sort of gut instinct says another. And the eye test isn't as good as the gut instinct that this team's pretty good.
Your eye test says 6-4. It's like
it really does,
and it's probably based off of what you saw last season. A huge, huge, huge part of it. But when you go into Kansas City and come out with a W, it doesn't really matter how it happens.
The Lions did that too, by the way.
Do any of us expect a game again where A.J. Brown is kept to one catch for 8 yards?
No.
There was just so many outliers of that game where you just go, okay, I can't really envision this happening again. And that's probably the biggest one. Like, if I tell you A.J. Brown has one catch for 8 yards and the Eagles score 21 points, I don't think a lot of people are going, that's a W, but somehow they managed to pull out a victory.
Yeah, here's one for you. Third down efficiency. The Eagles were 3 for 11. The Chiefs were 8 for 17. That's a number that you throw out there and you're
8 for 17.
That ain't good.
Well,
yeah.
The Chiefs and also ended up controlling time possession. They had the ball 4 minutes more than the Eagles.
Right.
For a while, I'm sitting there and my narrative, in my pre-show email to you guys was the Chiefs beat the Eagles at their own game. They were controlling clock. They were converting on third down. They were having these long sustained drives. They were wearing down the Eagles defense by just staying on the field. And they were forcing the Eagles to go 3 and out, which is something you don't really see a lot. And multiple times in that game, the Eagles were going 3 and out. And yet, they still won.
They had 238 total yards, the Eagles did. 238.
That's wild.
That's a half.
That's so low.
It's such an ugly, great win.
Yeah, it is. You gave up 5 sacks in the first half.
Think about it. If they had won this game against the Jets, the narrative coming in is completely different than winning against the Chiefs. It's like the Chiefs. It's an ugly, great win. If that happens against the Jets, we're like, geez, man. Well, wait till they play the Chiefs. You're not going to win like that.
Tim gives us a reminder. The Buffalo game on Sunday, the second Kelly Green game.
Yeah, I just saw that on Twitter a little bit ago.
And they are undefeated when when they're wearing those Kelly Greens.
And they look good. I like those Kelly Greens.
Oh my
a lot of people do, Bobby.
And I will say this: if anyone is defending Brian Johnson today and saying, "Yeah, Brian Johnson's good. He's really good," you're trolling. You're trolling. That's all you're doing, because there is no defense for it, and it's bad right now. And Sean in Millsboro wants to share that sentiment. Sean, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, buddy.
Hey, Sean.
First and foremost, I just want to say Desai officially has my stamp right now after last night's win.
Great second half adjustments.
Amazing second half. I don't know what the stat is, but he must have won at least 5 or 6 games holding teams off at the end of the game just for us to come out the W. But my thing with Brian Johnson is the momentum shift. I don't know what our stat is for scoring off of turnovers, but every time we get a big momentum shift, the defense does something big. He comes out and just throws a done. I feel like we get 3 play calls, nothing big, and just momentum gone.
Yeah, it was a weird look. There were weird turns in that game. I thought there was some ticky-tack stuff that kept drives alive, but I don't think it was anti-Eagle.
No, I don't think so either. And you know, my little rant earlier, and that's even too strong of a word, was just that I thought the officials got too involved. Yeah, there are obvious plays you have to make. You see offensive linemen are holding guys around the throat and stuff like that. Obvious. When you have guys that aren't even being looked at by the quarterback running a pattern, and a D-back puts his hand on his waist and doesn't like stop his momentum or anything like that, like, do you really feel you have to throw yourself into the game there? And it's just a feel, I think. Those guys know how to ref way better than I do. I understand that. But there's a feel for the game that has to be had. And the feel should be, all right, let's let them play until something egregious happens. And I just thought they were involved a little too much last night.
We got a lot of people that want to chime in at 610-632-0975 on the win-loss thing, and a lot of different points of view. We'll get to all of you coming up. Plus, Bob has some thoughts on the bell ringers for the Sixers that he's watched over the years. He'll inform you why. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love the fact that the Birds have gotten off to this 9-1 start. And I love the fact that
Fanatic, Philadelphia.
It's been pretty much all Eagles all the time this morning. John Kincade show on 97.5 The Fanatic. And, but I feel very good because I was just talking to Andrew Saltunis and Ray Dunn out there. But the one thing I said to Andrew is, there's nothing better than when you're 9-1. Because 8-2 today would have been angst.
Absolutely.
It would have been
sucked.
It would have sucked.
Like Bob talked about earlier about, everyone's tired today, getting up early and, having to go to work and whatnot, and all the listeners. It's just so much easier when you get to do all of that and the team won.
Well, it's a lot easier to do a show.
Yeah.
When they win and everybody's relatively happy.
Oh, I think
everybody is. It's been a more happy show than I expected.
Really?
I expected people to be more grumpy about all the things that weren't not perfect about it, weren't good about it. And I'm really positive. And our jury's been great.
If it wasn't for the fact that it's the Chiefs, I probably would say we would have gotten show with that performance. But
if this was the Giants game, it would have sounded like the shows after the Washington games.
It was something that Tim McManus talked about with me, Bob, and Andrew on pregame, how the Eagles are used to taking over stadiums at this point. People like Vince Rizzuto from Philly Sports Trips, they get the group, they travel out there, and when the Eagles come out, it's like a smattering of cheers and not boos. Tim mentioned, though, how Arrowhead's one of those places where you can't really do that. And I wondered, would it affect the Birds at all? Would it kind of throw them off a little bit that they were actually feeling a home field advantage in a negative way?
You heard it from Nick after the game.
Yeah, he talked about it. And so to go in there and get a win and by any means necessary, yeah, it's hard to come in and be mad about it.
So much fun about it. I love it.
There's winning ugly games. It might be one of my favorite things.
Really? This makes no sense to me.
Taken out of your element, not being able to do maybe what made you successful when you're a good team, and still finding a way to win. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like you're a great 3-point shooting team, and a team comes out and plays a zone where they're standing outside the 3-point line the whole time, but you find a different way to go in there and win. I do. I think that is. To me, it's just the essence of sports. I love it. I absolutely love finding ways to win in different ways and maybe ways you're not accustomed to.
Hey, let's get one of our last jurors in here. Brian joins us. Brian from East Falls. Let's go. Your hands on the Bible, buddy.
How's it going, Ray? Man, listen, that was a heck of a game, man. I'm very, 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 very proud of the Eagles last night. I just want to say, I think for me personally, John, that all year long, I've been looking at this team through the vision of expectations from like last season.
Okay.
Because there wasn't very much expectations last season, and we just like and we went to the Super Bowl, and I got to and the play calling, Shane Steichen and Brian Johnson, the two different play callers.
Absolutely.
And Shane Steichen, like I said, he knew how to press the buttons and get the momentum and get the rhythm. Brian Johnson, he calls the plays, but we win ugly games, man. And I don't. As long as we're winning, I don't care. Like we're 9-1, we're the best team in the NFL. Let's go. EA.
Thank you for the spelling, Brian. We appreciate that. Do you see that lady that's on? I think she was on a Fox 29 show. And the meme keeps coming up where she says EAGAS. She spells Eagles wrong.
Yeah, she was on a roll.
That makes me so.
Yeah,
it makes
let her
me,
go. She's on a roll.
It makes me laugh every single time. It's just me. Every time I see it, I laugh. Hey, Marcus in New Hampshire checks in with us. Marcus, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Great to have you on, buddy. They're 9-1, right?
Oh, it's great to be on. It's a great time right now. I'm on vacation through Thanksgiving, and
good for you.
I tell you what, too. I'm getting a nice little bonus here at the end of this month. I'm taking all of it, and I'm putting it on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I don't want to say they're a lock, right, because nothing's a lock. But I truly think they have the best chance of winning this Super Bowl this year, and here's why. Because the Eagles have proven they can beat in a variety of different ways. If you got to air it out, we can do that. If it's a nasty weather game, we can do that. If defense needs to step up, they can do that. The Eagles can win in so many different ways, whereas a lot of teams only have one gear. That's why I think they have the best chance to really win the Super Bowl this year here. To go into that stadium without Goddard against the Chiefs on the road, nasty weather, and actually pull out a win, that to me shows me this team really is the front runners to win the Super Bowl.
I love your energy and everything. I would just say bet responsibly.
Yeah, what Marcus said he's going to grab all of it. What money?
His bonus. He has a bonus coming at the end of the month.
Yeah, no, Marcus, don't put it all down there.
Not all.
No.
But if you believe it, you can make a nice logical bet.
Yeah.
So
don't do that.
Yeah, let's be careful with that.
Let's save some for like a trip to PJ's or something, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Buy
Get
Pat
into
a
your
couple
local
of
rally
Cokes.
house.
Yeah. There's plenty of places to go, man. I mean,
Pat was double fisting the Cokes last night. That's how amped up he was.
Well, when in trap,
You must have been
do as
amped
the
up if you were
trappers do.
double fisting.
I was a little amped up. We had a good time.
You had a great crowd last night. I was listening I listened around 20 minutes, and you could hear the energy in the place at the Trap Tavern. That's
there was
great.
Eagles chants. A ton of Eagles chants in that place. Yeah, they were fired up.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good crowd.
Kevin Byard last night, by the way, from Jeff Kerr at CBS, our friend. Byard in pass coverage, 7 of 11, 46 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and 11 yards allowed after the catch. It's one of the reasons they got him. 2 pass breakups, one of the reasons they got him. He made an impact last night. Jason in Ardmore joins us. Jason, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Hey, John, how are you? It's Jason from the Dirty 30.
That's what's up, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. How could I not be after a game like yesterday? You know, let's talk about the game.
Did the Eagles win it or did the Chiefs lose it?
No, of course the Eagles won the game. The Eagles won it. You know, we made adjustments in the second half, and we did what we had to do to win the game.
I love that, Jason, because it is important that everybody look at that. And appreciate you checking in with us, and hope you're feeling well. The idea of the Eagles, to me, it's been overwhelming this morning. I would never have guessed. I'd say it's been like 3-1 that the Eagles won the game. Mike from Delran fell into the he believes the Chiefs lost the game.
Yeah.
The majority of listeners, though, that have chimed in with us this morning, and thank you, Jason, is the idea that it's been that the Eagles won the game. And I do believe the Eagles won the game. Getting the ball away from Travis Kelce in the red zone, going in for a score. Huge play. The checking out of a play and throwing the bomb to Devontae Smith. The Eagles won this game. They won the game. They didn't play well. It doesn't mean they played well. It doesn't mean that they necessarily called a good game on offense or that they had a good defensive game in the first half. But they won the game.
Do you think, and then, this speculation here, just having fun, if Valdez-Scantling makes that catch and goes into the end zone with 1:50 to go and puts them up 24-21.
Right. We would have been down a field goal. I say it goes
150 to get the ball, what happens?
It at least goes overtime. And I had said that to my daughter. If he catches that ball and he goes in for a score, I would have said at least it goes for overtime.
Where was your confidence level, Pat? Had that happen, had he caught that ball, touchdown, 150 to go, you're down 3, getting the ball with the way the offense has performed all night, what is your thinking? How was your confidence level?
Would have thought overtime. Would have been nervous with Brian Johnson's play calling in crunch time because we haven't really seen him in that situation yet, where it's like, game on the line kind of situation. Not a situation where you can tie the game with a field goal. So I would have been confident with the amount of time they had.
Yeah.
But,
and they had all 3 timeouts.
I obviously would have been nervous. I mean, I was preparing myself mentally for a loss because you gave Patrick Mahomes the ball back with a whole lot of time. Not that you weren't going to score. I'm not advocating for that. But, when Pat Mahomes has that much time to throw, I was mentally preparing myself for a little bit of heartbreak. But I think I would have been positive.
I would have thought that they were scoring to at least tie. By the way, did you just hear a ghost in here or something?
Yeah.
What's that?
Somebody was doing an Eagles chant. Somebody's fired up.
But it's weird. I mean, that was great. I love the energy that's around this place. That makes me happy. Yeah. Rick joins us from North Jersey. Is he on the road, Rick? Are you driving?
I'm driving again, boys. Let me say something. I want to say a couple points, and I got to hear. Number one, I'm happy. We're 9-1, closer to home field advantage. Number two, I love this radio show. You guys are my Sal Palantonio because you guys are the encyclopedia and made me a better fan.
Thank you, buddy.
But it's a tale of two halves. This DC never changes his scheme. Pat Mahomes had tons of time in the first half to do whatever. He thinks that our four-man front can get to them, and he did it. I understand the double, triple team to Kelsey. Great job there. But giving these guys giving Pat Mahomes too much time in the pocket, and they have 5 drop passes. They lead the league in the most drop passes. It's terrible. And then the OC, why do we get away from Swift? Every time he had 12 carries for 77 yards, and he is so explosive. But why does he go to Gainwell? Why does he go to Boston Scott? Why? Because when you give the ball to Swift, it opens the game up, and Jalen Hurts looked way better when giving the ball to Swift because Swift gets you 6, 7, 8 yards. And lastly, gentlemen, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Rick.
To you and your family, and I thank you for letting me on your show and listening and making me a better fan. Thank you, guys.
To you and
Thanks,
yours,
Rick.
too, Rick.
Appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's high praise.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
I'll tell you what. He brought up Travis Kelce again. I think we can't overlook this. Jason Kelce had a phenomenal game last night in areas. He missed a block one. He came off. There was some miscommunication there, whatever. But on the play, there was one play where Hurts leaned down to him, said something, and he ran his own quarterback draw. Kelce came out.
Beautiful play.
Beautiful play there. On the run, the really nice run by Swift early in the game where he spun towards the goal line, took it down to the 3. Kelce was way out in front and just grabbed the guy and threw him away like he was a piece of paper.
Okay.
He still gets out to that second level in a way that I just love.
I said to my daughter last night, he's still one of the top 5 centers in the game.
Probably.
If not okay. Don't retire, Jason. Please. Don't retire. Because I got the gut feel, and the more you watch some of the stuff and everything, I got the feeling that he's done. And if he rides off in the sunset after a Super Bowl, I'll accept it. But damn, he's still playing at such a high level. You don't have to retire. You don't have to. If he just wants to spend time with his girls, I totally understand it.
Sure.
But boy, I hope he stays because he doesn't show his age at all.
No, and Aikman was going off about that last night, too. Like, man, here's a guy that's talking about or thinking about retirement, and he's still going real strong. Don't know if he's ever played better. Him getting out in that second line of blocking is still just a sight to behold. How quick he is, how fast he is. You see him running out in front of running backs at full speed. I love the way that guy plays football.
Here's the problem, Pat. I've heard Olsen say it. I heard Aikman say it last night, and Bob just brought it up before I did. When these analysts talk and go, yeah, here's a guy contemplating retirement, I know that they've sat down with Jason Kelce. They've talked to him. They've had a conversation. I feel like they know the answer that we just don't know the phone answer to yet.
How do we not know? We know. You watch the documentary, and that was based off last year. We all know. It's the worst kept secret. If they had won last year, he would have retired. If they win this year, he's retiring. I think he wants to walk away before he starts to really truly break down. And they went through in the documentary the bumps and bruises that he has. And I say bumps and bruises, but in reality, it's like breaks and tears that guy has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. We see him getting to the next level and all that. What we don't see is him probably hobbling around. So, there's life after football. And I think he wants to enjoy time with his kids. I don't want to blame him if he did step away. As an Eagles fan, do I want him to continue to play? Absolutely. And it seems like a lot of football fans do. As you said, Troy Aikman, I noticed that too. He's raving about him on the broadcast about his ability to play at a high level. But you probably want to pull a Seinfeld, go out on top a little bit, and ride off in the sunset, especially if it's with a Lombardi.
I'd lean ESPN over Fox because if he is worried about retiring to spend more time with the family and everything like that, going to L.A. would be much harder than going up to Connecticut. That's a car ride. You know, you could car ride in the weekend.
You already have his career laid out after this, huh?
Well, I think he's Bob. There's an old Jamaican saying, "Pick, choose, and refuse." I believe that he will be pick, choose, and refuse of jobs. When Jason Kelsey says, "Yeah, I'm ready to retire," I think the television networks and everything will come to him and say, Here's what we offer you. Here's what we offer you. Here's what we offer you." I think he's going to have his pick of the litter to come and do jobs. And
maybe he should come here and say how he likes doing radio.
That wouldn't be bad. Hey, we welcome
Pat, make a phone call, will you?
Come on, Pat.
I'm on it.
Make something happen, would you? A little bit. So,
Jeez, guys.
I thanked everybody at the Fanatic and the 76ers for their kindness on tonight. I will be ringing the bell, and I plan on not missing the bell. I promise you that. I'm not going to do a viral miss the bell moment. But, Bob, you've witnessed a lot of these bell ringings over the years. Mm-hmm. You've always, you've things out. So, I mean, I feel very honored because I sort of feel like I'm not worthy when I see Bryce Harper and, and Topper.
Nobody's putting you in that category.
That's
John.
what I'm saying. And
You're more of the grocery store guy down the street.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Sympathy.
Yeah, so
it's the sympathy one.
No, it is.
It is good though. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I kind of just put this down as a joke.
But you've
like,
seen
hey,
a bunch of these though. Yeah, I mean, you've seen a bunch of these. The numbers that go in though are pretty amazing. Some of the people who've done it. So
yeah, it was cool. Come playoff time, when you bring out the first time the Allen Iversons or the Julius Irvings and stuff like that. Yeah, it's.
What year did this start?
The bell. Wow.
Like, I mean, is it?
Oh, God, yeah.
It's funny. A lot of times pregame, when I was at my old profession,
what would you be doing?
You write a story before the game starts, and you're probably posting something online before it starts. So I'm usually scrolling out at opening tip-off, not seeing the introductions. So bell ringers, I'd have been in the building 100 times and not know once who the bell. I would go to Matt Cord the next day and be like, "Who rang the bell?"
Pat, I'd be guessing 7 years, maybe something like that.
Probably. I mean, I'm trying to think.
In that
Time's a flat
neighborhood.
circle, so it just all runs together. Yeah, probably like 7.
Yes.
7-ish. I would say when they started to kind of try to win. So what year was?
Yes.
What year was that, Bobby? When they started to kind of turn.
17?
17, 18.
17. So yeah,
like
probably
that,
about 6 years.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, Dave is going to be in the building tonight from Ben Salem. Our buddy Dave. How are you, Davey?
What's going on, Dave?
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Pat. What a great Eagles win last night.
Huge win.
I hear the news this morning that you're going to ring the bell tonight at the Sixers game. I will be down there working. I can't wait, John. You're going to get such great ovation.
I look forward to seeing you, man.
We're all so happy for you, man. We really are, man. Your courage, your determination, your bravery, man. I mean, this is going to be a nice, great night, John, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you,
much.
buddy. But though, it wouldn't be as nice a night if the Eagles were 8-2.
Oh, I agree. So, it definitely helped.
What did you think about that last night?
Sixers, the game last night, obviously if that receiver catches that pass, we're in big trouble because they're right at the goal line. So that was definitely a turning point of the game. But the fact they shut Kelsey down, and, Mahomes didn't get that big play that beat them last night, which he did obviously in the Super Bowl and in the past. But I just thought Sirianni's game plan was really good, and obviously the defense stepped up big time last night.
I love it. And Dave, I look forward to hopefully see you tonight.
Thanks, Dave. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy.
I got to tell you, though, Bob, I wonder, you brought up something earlier, and I never thought of it. Did the Eagles say, we tried to beat them at their game in the Super Bowl, and we ended up falling just short? This is a regular season game. Let's play an ugly game. Let's have a backyard brawl and see how they handle it.
I don't think it was a conscious effort. I think that's who the Eagles were last year, right? They put up a lot of numbers. They were really good offensively. They rolled to a really good season. When you're doing that, you're the boxer that says, I can go toe-to-toe with you, and we'll see what happens. That I think they played it right. They played their game last year. Kansas City played theirs. A slim win in a great game. The Eagles just aren't that this year so far for some reason. I don't know. And maybe they have it in their head. We have to win ugly a lot of times, and that's what they did. And there's a lot of talk today about the defense going into the locker room last night. Said, look, donut in the second half. We're not giving up anything. No more points this second half. And they went out and did it. That wasn't something you would have heard in the locker room at the Super Bowl last year, I can't imagine.
No, and the adjustments in the second half. what Sean Desai did in that second half is what I don't see Brian Johnson do, Pat, is that it's the adjustments in game that have made me go, okay, and we talked about it the other day. I have more confidence in Desai because I've seen more out of Desai. He plays chess. He knows how to adjust. But Brian Johnson, it doesn't make sense what he does.
Oh, I love Brian Johnson's adjustments. His adjustment is, so the first half we were running really well with DeAndre Swift, and he was really effective. So I'm going to adjust from that, and I'm going to throw in Boston Scott to start the second half. And then I'm not going to go back to Boston Scott at all. Yeah, like the guy might adjust, but it's just stupid adjustments. I mean, and no bigger example of that is the Travis Kelce fumble you followed up with. Legitimately, the ideology of Madden football of, okay, well, I'll try it on this side. Okay, it didn't work. Well, I'll just flip it, and I'll flip the play, and I'll do it on the other side. I don't know if the game's moving too quick for him or what, but man, I sat back there last night just wishing that some team that needs a head coach falls in love with this guy.
That's not happening.
I don't know. No, it very well could. If they end up going to the Super Bowl, I mean, look, Josh McDaniels got hired twice as a head coach. So there's no doubt that if they go to the Super Bowl, their coaching staff probably will be poached. It won't be Desai, and it probably would be Brian Johnson.
Here's one thing I would think could benefit. Get him upstairs. Get him upstairs. Let him see the game from a different angle. Let him see the game from a different point of view. Because I truly believe the game's too fast for him. And he doesn't respond well to making the decisions. Shane Steichen was a little more, I don't know, savvy or quick on the draw, and he's showing it right now as a head coach, doing a great job. But to me, I'd say, how about you watch upstairs and call the game from upstairs?
That's a gutsy move. I mean, if a guy's always been on a sideline and that's what he's used to and that's how he rolls, that's...
Yeah, but he's there because he was the quarterback coach.
No, I hear
Jalen,
you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I
don't see them interact much.
No,
I mean,
Hurts usually goes to the side by himself. You'll see once in a while he talks to his receivers. But, yeah, every time they show Jalen Hurts, it looks like he's just sitting there by himself.
Chilling out.
Yeah, like a song going through his head, and he's trying to figure out the next verse. I don't know. I guess some changes have to be made because that once we talk to, or I shouldn't say we talk to, but once coaches talk and the offensive coordinators talk during this week, it'll be interesting to see their take on how the offense played out.
Well, I think the fact that 5 times Jalen Hurts mentions the offense misfiring, the offense, and unlike other weeks, it doesn't seem like he's putting it all on his shoulders. He's talking about our plan and our approach. I think there's a chance, Pat, that Jalen's getting a little frustrated too. And he's the guy who put the guy in the job. Because if Jalen Hurts didn't want him in the job, he wouldn't be there. I mean, they
yeah, I mean, well, you're not going to move on from him in season.
No, you're not. But I mean, I think he's getting a little frustrated too.
How could he not?
Well,
I honestly don't understand how could you not be frustrated at some of the calls, but you know, he checked out of the one last night. And
Thank God.
Yeah, right. Because it probably would have been a handoff right up the middle.
Kenny Gainwell, draw play, baby.
Yeah. Look, it's just the same crap with him every game. I personally need to get my head around the fact that it's not going to change, and
you
learn
said
to accept
despite.
it. But yeah, I do. I think this offense scores despite him, because people that are pro Brian Johnson, they're not many of them, but they'll point out how many points per game this team puts up, and look, well, it's not as bad as you think. They're putting up points per game. This offense is so loaded. They have so many weapons that how could you not put up points? I think this team puts up points despite him.
By the way, Daryl works night work. He watched the game and ended watching it at 6:30 this morning. He said, you guys are mentioning the biggest pass play that was put last night to gosh, I'm having the brain fart, to the running back Swift was also an audible. He said, so 2 of the biggest plays on offense were audibles. He goes, right before the play, Jalen does a kill and changes the call to line of scrimmage. He said, so 2 of the biggest successful plays, Jalen checked out of and changed the play.
Well, that's assumption. A lot of times there are kill that are fake.
There could be.
Yeah, so I don't know. Man, maybe he's onto something. Maybe he did pick that up, and a great pickup by him if so. But there are times where you'll go to the line, you have your play, you know that they call kill, and they kill the kill with something else where you just stay with the play. So I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of that.
They did own the fact that the Devontae Smith thing, and Pat, I think it's interesting that Hurts is the one who points out that it was we checked out of that play and Devontae made the great catch and everything. I think that's sort of telling. We saw something, and we did it. And Nick Sirianni pointed it out that Jalen checked out of the play and then made the biggest pass play of the game. To me, that says something.
I don't know. I'm not reading too much into that one.
Oh, I'm always into the conspiracy theories, So I'm just saying that's interesting to me that he would bring that up because you're either patting the back of your quarterback or you're sort of kicking in the butt your offensive coordinator.
Or he's just stating the fact. That's what happened. I don't know how many times a quarterback audibles in a game.
Right.
I know, when you get to the pro level, I know they have that option. So I don't know the percentage of times that Jalen Hurts audibles out, and maybe that's ordinary, that on that play he audibles out and sees something different. So I don't know if it was a kick in the butt to somebody or a pat on the back more than, it was just factual. That's what he did.
Bob, have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too.
And you'll be back for Birds pregame on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll be at Live Casino down on Packer and Darien. Me, Pat, and Andrew Salchunas will be there. What do we go? 1 to 4 with a 4:30. So hope to see everybody down there.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partners, David Auto Group. That's David Kelleher and his gang. And make a donation today to the AACR. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. Every first-time donor, your donation will be doubled through New Year's Eve. Cancer research saves lives. It's worked for me 3 times. Let it work for someone else. Be generous, please, if you can. We look forward to you again. Bob, you and I, you'll be back on Monday. I'll be back on Friday. Pat, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to the whole audience.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, imagine if your favorite